sometimes when we start an episode, it actually begins with me going, we're rolling or recording, and then that's how the episode begins. Or else sometimes it starts with John going, so, and then he leads into something.
So where are we with, like, aliens?
We're rolling.
Is that what we're going with? What our feelings on aliens?
Not our feelings. What is the current status? Because I feel like I'm hearing a lot of confusing things.
Little Jimmy escaped from Area 51. He's free. He's out there.
Okay, but I feel like more and more over the last year, I've heard these reports of like government documents being like, oh yeah, aliens are real. And COVID has been a major problem recently. And is that insane? Are insane people relaying to me like just nonsense information, or is there actual like, oh yeah, aliens are real, like they're happening? Sorry, real isn't the right word, because they are real. Are they here?
Yeah, okay, so like for me, I genuinely 100% believe that there is life outside of Earth.
Oh, they're like mathematically has to be, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they're here yet.
Yeah, or if they ever would be. But it's the whole UFO UAD shit. You know, the way they like had to reclassify what UFOs are?
What, because of drones?
For whatever reason, the government is now like, no, UFOs aren't a thing. No, UADs, I think it's UADs, unknown, airborne
devices.
I don't know.
Maybe it's because UFOs are just like too, you think UFO, you think kind of crazy kook living in the woods.
I can't not hear the hit from X-Files when someone says the word UFO.
Exactly. So they kind of want to give it more legitimacy, so they give it a different name.
What do you guys think would be like the most disappointing alien?
Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar is a key to all this.
I don't know. Just like aliens that just saw us from a distance and decided to take human form. I'd be like, really? Like, all you had, all the options to kind of present yourself as, and they kind of
what
do
if they
humans.
were like us, but just like a little bit shorter?
Humans too, shorter.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I'd be worried about their nutrition.
They don't need nutrition.
Okay, hang on. They made it to fucking Earth, Bryan. Their nutrition's fine. They're doing great.
Yeah, but would they
what
not
have we
just
done?
Judge them?
Yeah.
Because we're good at it.
You know, I would see them and I would be like, it's so amazing that other life forms exist, and I could totally beat them in a fight. Because they'd be like little.
Arrival would be a better movie if that's what she was thinking.
just knock one of their
She's
legs
trying
down.
to communicate with them, and it's just like at the end, it's just like, you meet outside.
Come down here so I can kick your ass.
I would love aliens that look like incomprehensible to the human eye. Like they were like this weird saturated, like vibrant blur that moved at such a high speed that we just couldn't see them. I'd love that.
Just if they were light or something.
Yeah.
But isn't that what cylinders are?
Kind of. But no, for this they wouldn't even have a shape, or their shape would be constantly shifting, that they were just undefinable, but they did have
those weird light cones that people take photos of and are like, it's a fucking alien.
Yeah, the rods.
The rods, that's what I'm thinking of. And they were JoJo's stand once for a battle that was nearly incomprehensible.
Yes.
Welcome to the Let's Fight a Boss video game podcast. The world's Niamh assist
strongest
video game podcast. I am sitting here with two of the most extraterrestrial hosts to ever exist. To my left, he comes from deep within the gas vaults of Mars. Niamh, what was that?
Nothing. He comes in the gas.
He comes from. Okay, look, Niamh, I'm going to meet you halfway here. I left slightly too long a pause between he comes and from the gas vaults of Mars.
Niamh smiled.
This is a mistake I make. One time I tried to say, what say we fuck this ghost, pause, up. It's a disaster.
Yeah, so he comes.
It's Bryan.
I have been abducted 12 and a half times.
To my right, from Dimension X, it's Niamh.
I've abducted some dude like 12 and a half times.
That's crazy. Wow. And with you always, your terrestrial host, it's John.
You don't want to do a funny name?
The Probe.
Wait, what? No, I don't want... Wait. No.
Mr. Glowing Finger.
The
Portal.
I don't know about the implications of any of these.
Smiling Man.
Do you have any, like, is that it? Did you want to...
No, I'll probably say something later on.
Okay. Sometimes I don't know about this podcast.
Too late now.
Yeah.
Just like, seriously.
It's been a while since we've kind of like chipped away at John's vulnerabilities, and it's always nice.
I don't know, Bryan. I feel like you kind of come at me like every like week or two.
I've been trying not to do it on air.
No, not on air, but like through text, like this morning.
Oh yeah. No, wait. Was that this morning or yesterday?
That was this morning, Bryan.
About the piss stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's all I need to say, and the listener fills in the blanks.
Yeah, it's a game of improv we play with them. Guys, I watched Beastars season 1.
Finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're making...
Like, come on,
Yeah.
John.
There was like a solid 8 months where every time I streamed, like different people would be like, have you watched Beastars yet? But yeah, you know, one thing I've learned is that people really love it when I go after popular anime series, and I thought, hey Beastars, let's fucking go. And after watching season 1, that's 12 episodes, I can say that show is totally fine. It's a really weird show, and I think like the thing is, when you look at a show like Beastars, which is, if you are not aware, is about like this fantasy society that is run by animals, and the animals are divided into herbivores and carnivores, but the carnivores don't eat herbivores because that's bold. But they still kinda do, because some of them get meat on a black market. And I think when like you start imposing animal identities onto like people, and their attributes become like much more differentiated than even our like human attributes are, you do start to play this game, or at least I sure do, where it's like, okay, so like, what are we saying here? Like, is this about nationality? Is it about race? Is it about gender? And I was kind of watching Beastars, and I was like kind of going through it, because first I was like, this seems like a really odd look at gender, because like, you know, you have your main wolf dude,
Lugosi?
yeah.
That's a really good name.
If it's
Yeah,
not that,
I think it's
really...
from Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, it is. That's Bela Lugosi. That's
Yeah.
very good.
And then you have his little bunny friend, who has the same name as the main girl from Sailor Moon, I think.
Usagi, which
That
means
means rabbit.
Yeah, it means rabbit.
I can't remember if that's it or not. You're about right, but maybe I am wrong. And like, it's this real like intense relationship with them two, where he like kind of wants to eat her, and kind of just wants to like be in love with her. Doesn't seem to want to have sex with her that much, because that comes up super early. And so I was kind of watching it, and I was like, okay, so is this like about how women are like prey and men are like the hunters? Because if so, not super down for that. And they flip that on its head pretty quick, because then later on a girl wolf comes into it, and there's a very interesting scene between her and a deer, and I was like, okay, I don't think that's what we're going for here. But then like, you start looking at it from like a kind of race angle, and it only really makes sense in like the really broadest of broad strokes. And at that point, I kind of started to realize that the woman who writes this, she is the daughter of the dude who writes Grappler Baki, which
Okay.
I know I have said that on this podcast at some point, but I just really love it. She only ever appears in public in a chicken mask, and I think she is just a weird fucking woman who wants to really write about carnivores and herbivores, and it's not a metaphor, and I think that's fine. It's a weird show in a lot of different ways. Like, you start off in this mystery. One of the herbivores has been eaten by a carnivore, after that first episode, I was really sold on it. I was like, oh, I like murder mystery stuff. This is beautiful. This is really, really cool. Let's see where this goes.
And it takes place on a school academy, doesn't it?
Yeah,
They're all
very
in
kind
uniform.
of private prep school. They all wear like a specific uniform. They have different uniforms in the summer.
And the show is 3D animated, but it looks nice.
Really nice 3D animated that's not trying to be 2D animated. It's just doing 3D well. And
Okay.
I really like how this show looks. Not every episode looks amazing, but there are just some like... There's just the odd flourish of animation where it's like, god damn, that is like really smooth for 3D animation.
The intro is beautiful as well.
Oh, so good.
It's like stop motion with like, I don't know, felt.
Yeah, this little bit where like the rabbit jumps up and like kisses the wolf on the nose. It's cute. But the murder mystery thing gets dropped nearly immediately to the point that I nearly felt like, have I missed an was I not paying attention? Did they sort this out? I don't think they did. I could be very wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that basically doesn't come up, and then it starts being about a school play and then the mafia.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, not really much of a central plot thread going on here. It's kind of more focused on like the characters. And like in fairness, the wolf dude,
Lugosi?
he's really nice. I like him a lot, and I found myself really rooting for him at the end. The rabbit as well, like I found myself super, like, she was a really, really interesting character too. Like, she kind of just wants to fuck everything like a rabbit does, but I felt like in that writing they avoided a bunch of weird tropes like that, and it was just kind of interesting, and like she had like self-respect and dignity the whole way through. I liked those characters a lot. Same with the stag, and like same with a few others. They're fun characters, and the story was never really like too gripping. I thought I was never really super like, when I was coming to this show, I wasn't coming to it with like, oh, what's gonna happen? I was always coming to it with like, I'll spend some time with these knuckleheads, you know? And it ended up being like really, really nice. I haven't watched the second season. If people think second season's super good, let me know and I'll check it out. The way it characterizes some of the animals is super clever. Like there's this one lion, and he's like the mayor, and he's like a real sort of politician. And like to prove how not dangerous he is, he has like his mane swept back in like a ponytail, and he has replaced his like lion teeth with human teeth.
Oh, gross.
Or at least herbivore teeth. It looks fucking weird, but like it's meant to, you know?
So he's missing his fangs, he's missing the canines.
Yeah, and I think like if the show does have anything to say, it's something about like embracing your inner instincts, but not too much, but not at all. So I don't know. I think like if you're a furry, you've already watched this show, but like if you are partial to anthropomorphic characters, sure, like this is fun, and like that's something I liked about it. I like anthropomorphic characters. They are fun. I wouldn't say this show like blew my mind, but I had a pretty solid time with it, and it is like, it's a weird, interesting thing that you can just watch that doesn't feel like anything else. Like I can safely say there is no other anime like this, and I think that's fun. Brian,
Yes.
what do you want to talk about, buddy?
I have a TV show that I watch called Dave.
Go for it.
Do you guys know what this is?
Only what you told me.
I have a vague idea. It's about a guy who wants to become a comedian.
I thought so too. It's about a nerdy Jewish white guy who lives in LA who wants to become a rapper.
Oh, okay.
And it's called Dave. In real life, the guy's name is Dave. He's playing a fictionalized version of himself. His rapper name is Lil Dicky. And his gimmick is that he has a small penis.
It's a good gimmick.
And
You could just surprise people, I don't know.
and people are like, oh, cool. So you're like kind of like...
Cool with it.
You're cool with it, putting a twist on it. It actually does. There is 1 or 2 episodes about body dysphoria and specifically about genitals.
Oh.
And the show is like 90% of the time a stupid comedy, and then there's these really raw, hard-hitting moments, and you're like, wait, that dude's crying. and like you're like, but that guy's not even an actor. What's going on? And then you read up the wiki on one of the actors, and you're like, oh, this is fucking personal. It's sort of similar to Atlanta, and I think it's an FX show like Atlanta. It's on Disney Plus over here because Disney bought Fox, and so they have a bunch of Fox and FX shows. So it's streaming on Disney Plus in Europe anyway. And I think the first season is up, and I think the second season just finished airing. It's weird because like this is absolutely an over 18 show. Like there are bits in this where I was eating dinner and I had to stop eating dinner.
Oh, not your dinner, Bryan.
Because there is some nasty sex stuff. All consensual, but fucking nasty. It's a very, very bold show.
Good stuff.
But it's about a group. It's about a friend group. The main character of whom is named Dave, and it's, I guess, his hype man Gata, his sound engineer Elliot, I think is his name. He's just called El. His girlfriend Ali, and to a lesser extent, there's his graphic designer, who's also his housemate, and then his weird, intense friendship with like a guy he met in college who then becomes his manager. And so it's sort of similar to Atlanta, where it's about, you know, a rapper trying to make it in the business. But you know the way Atlanta uses that as, you know, its kind of platform, but immediately pivots away from telling any
Those
story.
episodes go all over the place.
Yeah, like very few episodes are about the music industry or about, you know, like and the guy who plays Paperboy in Atlanta doesn't rap, so they can't have him rap. Whenever he does rap, it's just dubbed in because Donald Glover does the rapping for Paperboy. But the thing with Dave is that Dave, aka Lil Dicky, that dude can fucking rap, and they proved that point in the first episode. And in real life, he is a very successful rapper who is extremely well connected in the music industry. And that's kind of what this show is that almost every episode has a cameo from a rapper playing themselves in this fictionalized world, because these characters overlap with the real rap world, because especially El, the sound engineer, he's always got someone in the studio, and it always just kind of leads to them chasing some sort of connection to see if it can lead to them being a supporting gig at one of their shows.
Okay.
And there's a lot of meta commentary in it as well. The same guy, El, he is Tyler, the Creator's sound engineer, sound guy, whose real name is Taco Bennett. And his sister is Sid the Kid, the lead singer from The Internet.
Oh.
So he's just playing like a version of himself.
Yeah. So it's like people who just know each other kind of making something together?
Yeah. And then I was looking at like the guest list for like season 2, and it seems to go into K-pop. Like CL from 21's in episodes.
What? That's crazy.
Lil Nas is in an episode for season 2, so cool. I'm looking forward to this. But like, for a show that I thought like didn't have legs, all of a sudden it's got legs, and I'm really, really into it. One of the characters who's my favorite is Gata. The actor who plays him is bipolar. He gets his own episode where they kind of explain like what's going on with him, because when he's introduced, he's kind of mysterious and unreliable. And then you realize that like he's super well connected in the industry, and he was going to make it as a hype man, but he had but he had a breakdown and had to like step out of the music industry for a year, and then had to kind of rebuild his career that way.
I have a question, Bryan.
Yeah.
When you say going to make it as a hype man, what is a hype man?
Lil Jon isn't really a hype man, but they're the kind of guys that, let's say you have a rapper who's rapping, but you have another guy on stage who's saying hooks and getting the crowd warmed up. They're just saying one word, like okay or yeah, which I guess is what Lil Jon did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get the energy up.
Yeah.
But I think I get it. I could see the importance in that.
A rapper always needs a hype man.
Sure.
And it just ends up being that you have this core group of kind of misfits who have all these vulnerabilities, and all the people that they're meant to be kind of playing the roles in the show, there's a bit of like contradiction to them. Like the main guy is the rapper, you know, he's just this nerdy Jewish guy. The sound engineer hates the industry, but he has to but he's the most involved in it. The hype man he has really, really bad days where he's just not hype at all.
Oh no.
But like, God, that guy is so good. I honestly think he's my favorite character, Gata, and his name is also Dave, or some form of Dave, but like he can't be called Dave because the main guy's called Dave, so he's called Gata, which I think it stands for something, I can't remember what.
I like that joke in TV shows sometimes where two characters meet and they have the same name, like in Fleabag season 2.
Yeah, Claire.
What's the joke? I haven't seen Fleabag season 2.
So Fleabag's sister is called Claire, and then she's interested. It's a Scandinavian guy. He's like Swedish or Finnish.
He's Swedish or Finnish, I don't know.
But he's this very attractive, enthusiastic blonde guy who's also called Claire.
I see.
Because that's a guy's name. But yeah, as well, Dave, like his manager is just a guy who knows nothing about the industry but understands stocks and kind of side hustles. And Dave and his manager have this really, really weird relationship, which I totally understand. They give each other baths where they have to like rub in cream into each other, but like not in any other way. It's just like, but like I absolutely understand where they're coming from.
It would make more sense to me if it was the other way.
No, I get it.
Oh.
Do you not get it, John?
Oh, well, like, I've just never had a platonic relationship where that would be a thing.
There's a lot
or
of...
that would even apprach that.
There's a lot of
Brian
intimacy in
has run
the
you
show.
bats.
Yeah.
Brian has run me bats. But he's never been like, did you want me to rub
That's
some oil on?
that's just the next step.
John, we'll just see how we get on, but like, we are kind of helping each other when we're at our most intimate anyway. Like, I've seen more than others have.
Well, that's because we've gone swimming together at some point. That's all that means.
Yeah. No, but like, I could close my eyes, and in my mind's eye, I could picture John's belly button.
It's beautiful that you could trace his body with your mind's eye.
Oh my god. Are you done talking about your fucking shitty show, Brian?
And then, like, with Niamh over the years, I'm slowly learning Niamh. I've never seen Niamh's toes, but we're gonna get there eventually.
Oh, that will never happen. They don't go outside the house.
Yeah, I've never like Niamh's always ever worn socks, and so I've bought her socks because then I'm like thinking about
Just on the off chance, I'll be like, "Sweet new socks, gotta try them right now."
yeah, right away. But you know, just thinking about those toes because they're gonna get cold.
Oh, I don't.
I'm not being creepy. I'm being completely. There's nothing sinister or like stalkery or like negative about
if he says it, it's
part
true.
of me would feel safer if there was something sinister, because like I feel like this is like being out in the wilderness and say you see a wolf, you're like, well, that's a fucking wolf, we better stay away from that. But this is instead being like, oh, there's just a weird neon circle. Is time about to stop? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then you walk into the circle and a wizard appears to you and says, "Tell me about your friend's toe profile." And you don't have that answer, but Brian does.
Mm-hmm.
Are you like... Niamh, I feel like you're giving me sass for not caring enough about your toes.
I just find it really interesting that he noticed that I never will go full toe in public.
Well, it's private.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm going to respect that, but I am going to like try and cross the line,
Yeah,
you know, for obvious
exactly.
reasons. You're like, who wouldn't?
It's just like, yeah, I know. He's just like, he's got me, but I know he's got me, so he will never see those toes.
I got you on your toes, Niamh.
Yeah. There'd be a moment on a beach and you'll be like, gotcha. And I'll be like, fuck.
Oh, it's going to happen someday. Mm-hmm. Nearly happened when we were all at that swimming pool, but we'll see.
That's what I was thinking. We have all been swimming together, haven't we?
She was wearing socks. I checked, and one day she was wearing
This
sandals.
was like 3 years ago or something. 4?
4.5.
Fucking hell, oh my god.
I know, it's
what
time.
happened?
I have very cold feet. I wear socks a lot.
does.
But also,
She wears double
it's just too
socks.
scary.
Yeah.
I've seen Niamh's belly button.
That thing's always out.
Yeah.
Dave sounds good.
Yeah,
It's good.
TV show.
Also, his girlfriend Ali is very funny in it. She's just kind of like... It really feels like the friend group in this is an interesting one because like Dave is obviously the anchor, but like all of the characters seem to kind of know and interact with each other and have their own thing going on outside of the main character, which is always good in a TV show.
I like that.
And so like Dave's girlfriend, for example, she's like very friendly with all the other characters, like all the other male characters. It's not like there's ever going to be any weird like storyline that needs to go down that route. Like she's super cool that way. And the graphic designer friend is fun too, but she's barely in it, but she's good too. But it's got a very good core gang.
Cool.
And the music is great.
Brian, Sounds like a good show.
It's very, very bold though. But that's part of it.
That's part of it. I watched Arcane, the League of Legends animation, or that is to say, I watched the first 3 episodes. Those things are like 40 minutes long.
Oh, whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know anything about League of Legends. I know that it was based on an old World of Warcraft 3 mod.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah, Dota, and I could be talking out my ass here, but Dota and League of Legends were both based off a mod of Warcraft 3 called Defense of the Ancients, where they modded it so specific characters could have specific abilities, and both games just evolved out of that. One of the reasons Blizzard are so fucking weird about copyright now is because League of Legends started as a mod for one of their games and is now the biggest MOBA in the world, even more so than Dota 2, which is Defense of the Ancients 2, which is the Blizzard version of what that grew up to be. Yeah, anyway, everything you just heard is 100% of my knowledge about League of Legends. So I kind of just wanted to give this show like a shot because like I was like, okay, I know that has some cool looking characters. It's got the girl with the face mask in that one K-pop video, and then the girl with the tails, and then
KDA.
Yeah, and that's a fun video. This show is like, okay, first of all, like story and like character stuff, pretty good. Like not I'm only 3 episodes in, but like stuff's moving, characters are on their arcs. It's like interesting. It starts off like quite standard fantasy. You're basically like seeing the world from the point of view of these like little slum rat kids, and they live in their little like underground thief village, and they steal from the rich. And then there's like the upper class, and there's like the scientists, and some of them are like royal blood, and then the lesser scientists are not royal blood, and it's like all this kind of, you've kind of seen it before, but it is well done, and like the writing and dialogue is, characters are having conversations that you don't feel like you've heard 100 times before in this kind of show. Like there is some kind of nuance and there is some subtlety to them, and like the cast is like super fucking diverse. Like there's just all kinds of everyone, and it's interesting, and it's doing this thing where like I would say like there's nearly like 4 different protagonists in it at the moment, and it is doing a good job of making me invested in each one of them. Like it's balancing that well. It doesn't, there's never a point where someone's on screen and I'm like, wait, who is that? It's always like, oh, this fucking dude, okay, cool.
That's great.
Yeah, it's decent, but I would say like the show's real strength is this is probably the most lavishly produced television animation I have ever seen in my entire life.
I've heard that. I've looks
seen some
amazing.
clips.
I cannot believe how fucking good this show looks. And like, it's everything. It's just like the quality of the direction. Every camera shot just feels like so like tight and on point and good. Like it all feels really informative and like upping the tension or emotion of a particular scene. And like everything has a really focused like purpose, and it works really well. But there's also like really stylistic flourishes about it. Like all the characters, these are not Pixar looking characters. All these characters feel like they've been carved from wood. And I don't say that like as a texture thing, but like as a kind of angular aesthetic. Like there's a kind of sharpness to a lot of them. Like they're really not afraid of like sculpting a lot of geometry into those characters' faces. And then like the actual like animation and stuff itself, there's one scene at the end of episode 3 which is like a pretty emotional scene, and what really ups it is like the level of facial animation on the characters crying. It's like you can see every tiny little muscle like twitching, and you can see like the different shapes their mouth are making. There's like tears pouring down. There's like a little dribble of snot coming down their nose because they're that fucking upset with like spittle flying from their mouth and everything.
So sad.
And something about it does like, when you see facial animation does that well, it does hit something primary in you where you're like and like I was like, okay, from the point of view of the story, I was like, I kind of figured we were always headed here. But the animation like really went above and beyond to sell it. And like I'm not saying this is my favorite looking show of all time, because that's a different thing, but I really do think this is one of the best TV, probably the best looking TV animation I've ever seen. It's not up there with like an Enter the Spider-Verse,
But that's a feature.
but the fact that I have to bring Spider-Verse into this conversation should tell you how fucking great this looks. All the effects animation is 2D. So, like, the visuals are 3D, the effects animation is 2D. It is so well done. Like, oh my god, it looks great.
I do really like 2D effects mixed with 3D animation. It looks really fun.
This is like top drawer 2D effects, because you know the way sometimes it can kind of feel like an afterthought. It's like, oh no, a department worked really, really hard on these 3D effects. I don't care about League of Legends at all, but I am gonna watch this whole thing. Like this seems just like a really, really good time, and it was like, from an animation standpoint, it was just exciting. It was like, oh fuck, I've never seen something produced this well. And the fact that like the characters are all working and the story is going, it's like, it's kind of a really complete feeling package.
I've only seen clips of it, but the interpersonal animation between characters was just crazy. Like, there's people touching each other. There's like just the way clothes is falling on everyone. Like, there is so much physical interaction and acting happening at all times.
Oh my god!
Barely happens in 3D models.
You just wouldn't do it.
There's a brawl in episode 1 between a bunch of street kids. It is fucking brutal. Like, it is really, and like, not gory, not bloody, not even violent, but just like the very simple actions they portray. Like, there's this bit where one kid tries to like punch another, but they don't kind of quite get it right, so they end up hitting the other kid with their forearm instead of their fist, and it looks really messy and horrible because you see like the pain, the particular kind of pain that causes, and it's just full of that. Like, whenever action breaks out, it doesn't feel cartoony, and like when I say cartoony, I don't mean like Tom and Jerry shit. I know, you know, the kind of clumpy Pixar animation fight scene, two characters kind of, it doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like sore and like painful. It's fucking cool.
The texture painters are like the unsung heroes of this. It's
next
like
level.
Every inch of this is texture painted. I really wanted to watch this because the online lesbians are going crazy for a ship in it, which is V. I don't know if her name is V or like 6. I haven't watched anything. I don't know anything about Liv and Caitlyn, but I kind of also not been wanting to watch it because it's Riot and all the stuff with their like sexual abuse allegations and their unfair like workplace stuff, and it's like there's this big moment with Blizzard right now, so it was kind of one of those things where I'm like, I am not immune to a little pink-haired lesbian, but I might wait 6 months to kind of watch this, or like to a year, because it's like it will be
it's
there.
Gonna be there, and I don't think Riot are gonna drop this either. I think this is, they put a lot into this.
They've confirmed a season 2, and I think this took like maybe 6 years, or at least it was like this has been in development for a really long time.
Oh, it like this is the kind of thing where I don't think even a massive staff could produce something like this. Like time went into this.
Yeah.
A lot of storyboards got thrown away. A lot of animation is on like version 9. You know.
Yeah, there is like shots that are just like painted to the ends. So much objects and stuff. It is real, like it looks like a really big labor of love, and they let people have the time to do that. Yeah. I hope, you never know because it's animation, but like it is beautiful looking, and I look forward to watching it eventually.
Yeah, like I'm really enjoying it. So guys, I watched Cowboy Bebop.
Oh yeah, I watched the first episode.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Guys, why?
I need to know.
What do you think, Brian?
I couldn't even finish the first episode. Do you know, okay, for me, it felt like, imagine watching this, but it was like a fan-made show on YouTube. I would be like, this is great, good effort, like good hustle, good going. This is a big-budget Netflix show. No, it does not. It looks like weird cosplay.
Parts of it look nice. Like, I think sometimes the set design is really cool.
Yeah, and it's got nice establishing shots, but the like normal filming of actors on camera looks wrong.
So, you remember what I said about Arcane and like every shot feels like it has a purpose? There's so many like Dutch angles and like weird camera shit in Bebop that just does nothing. Like, it's not, they shot it this way because they were like, let's make it look cool, but there's no like reason
story
behind
to it.
So it just ends up looking really weird, like a lot of the camera stuff, Brian.
It really reminded me of the Spy Kids movies that were made like 20 years ago.
You are not the first person I've heard make that comparison.
The Spy Kids movies?
Yeah, where it just has like ropey CGI and just kind of like they're trying to make humans cartoony, but they're still like really restricted by their costuming and lack of on-set direction. They're a bit bewildered and confused, and that's the best take they had. Yeah, because like in the very first opening, it's Spike stopping a heist in a casino, and it looks fine, but it lacks any style and atmosphere.
Yeah. This show is weird. I don't hate it.
No?
No. But it's like, okay.
What's carrying it? Is it the actors or
just because you like Cowboy Bebop?
I do think the actors are good.
Yeah, no, like they're good.
I feel like if this was like a weird show on like the Sci-Fi Channel at like 1 a.m. and I just stumbled across it with no concept of what Cowboy Bebop was, I do think there is like a little something to this show. I think the cast are great. I think like Spike is great. I think Jet is great. I think they work really well together. And it is just like, when you look at it like that, I think it is this kind of really goofy but kind of fun like Jerks in Space TV show. You know, it's just like, oh cool, it's like these two guys are bounty hunters, let's go watch them do like episodic mischief. And there's parts of it where it does not work. Like there's parts of it where it sucks, and there's parts of it where it's totally fine. People have probably seen the clip of Ed going around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That is like by far the worst thing in the show. Like that is just really not good, and it's not Ed's actor's fault. Like,
no, that's a character. That's a writing problem. How do you adapt that? And like a lot of it is like writing problems, because even like I really like Faye's actor in this. I think she's cool. It's not Faye. Like it's just that character is not Faye. Like Faye wouldn't say like fuck nuggets, you know? Yeah. I think there's also a thing like with Faye generally, a lot of people are like, she seems mean. And it's just like, Faye originally was pretty mean. She was kind of a disagreeable person, and she kind of grew to be better. And I think a lot of people go into it like knowing the end point of characters and forget that there has a journey for characters to go through. So I just think Faye's actress is getting a really she's getting a really short end of the stick with a lot of the feedback from this. I really don't think it's her fault. No, and like I think I think she is giving a good performance as the character in that show. I just don't think the character in that show is Faye. Mm-hmm. And so like there is like, I like how weird this show is. Like it is doing its own thing. Like it is this weird, really stupid, just space bounty hunter show. And I think there is something to that. I think where it really falls apart is like as an adaptation of Cowboy Bebop. And that was always going to be a tough job, because Cowboy Bebop is just one of the best TV shows of all time. Like not one of the best anime of all time, it's just one of the best TV shows. And when it missteps in that department, it fucking like slams through the earth in just catastrophe. When the first episode ends with Vicious making out with a hot babe, it's like, oh. And like actually, you know, Vicious, I think the casting in this show is pretty good. I do not think Vicious is great as Vicious. It's very quippy. Whedon-esque.
Yeah, I've heard it compared to Joss Whedon.
Okay, I think I have boiled down what bothers me about Whedon-esque conversations. And those are conversations that feel more for the audience than for the characters. Mm-hmm. This show is so full of that. And it sucks. Like it really fucking sucks. And like those are the parts where I think you see it and like it is bad. Like it is just bad. And it's tricky because like I think there are parts there are parts of this show where like it does find its flow, and it's actually kind of fun. Like one thing I'd say about this show, I don't get bored watching it. You know, like I don't look at my watch watching it. I do occasionally wince and I'm like, oh but it's not like, I don't think this show is a complete disaster outside of actually its attempt at being an adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, because in that department it is like flaming wreck. I feel like this happened too fast. Like if they were ever going to try and make this in live action, it shouldn't have happened as fast as it did. It feels like pre-production was really, really short. Yeah, and like, you know, I was saying how like there's a lot of really nice sets. There's also a lot of scenes where it's like not you can see the green screen stage, but you can see the green screen stage. Like they're just these people are acting in like a very small room with green screen.
Yeah, it's just like the original series. It's a TV show, but it felt so cinematic even in the late 90s. This feels like a television show. And like I'm thinking about shows like The Mandalorian and stuff, which are sci-fi shows, but they feel cinematic. And like this doesn't have the excuse because like this is a Netflix show. Netflix have a lot of money. Like like I don't know where the money went because it's there sometimes and then other times it ain't.
I think this show probably had a decent budget. I think to make a Cowboy Bebop show, live action show work, you'd need more than that. I mean, it has points. I think the performances are good. I like Spike, I like Jet, but yeah, when you step back and like, you know, you really think about what Cowboy Bebop is, like when that entire show comes together and you see like how it is about like kind of the nothingness of life and trying to outrun your past and all that stuff, like it is one of the most profound and beautiful shows of all time. It's really hard to see it kind of boil down to a entertaining but goofy sci-fi show, and you know, I haven't watched all of it and I am going to, so I don't know if they're gonna, maybe they will like glance off that, but I don't think they will. I think there is like, there are just times when you're watching it and you see what I can only describe as like profound misunderstandings of what Bebop is. Like Bryan, 5 minutes into the first episode when Jet does an accidental boob grab.
Yep.
What the fuck are we doing?
Well, that's
Whedon-esque.
Yeah, that's Whedon-esque.
Yeah, but like that's also very anime, and it's like, yeah, but Cowboy Bebop is like, that would never happen in that show.
Yeah, because Cowboy Bebop's anime, but it doesn't fall into those fucking tropes.
No, it's its own thing.
So they've done Cowboy Bebop.
Yep.
They've done Ghost in the Shell. Akira's all that's left.
Yeah.
Are you forgetting about the 2023 December 2023 adaptation of Yu Yu Hakusho?
And don't forget One Piece, they announced the casting. Actually, I do want to talk a bit about live action animation adaptations.
Go for it.
So, they announced the One Piece. This is also a Netflix show of One Piece, and the core cast, I'm actually really happy with them. The dude they have playing Luffy,
they look good,
is very good because he's got the pep and energy.
Very enthusiastic and very animated.
Yeah. Zoro is Japanese. They have a Japanese dude playing Zoro. Nami is Swedish, but they just have like a very white girl playing Nami.
That's Swedish.
That's Sweden. Usopp is I think he's from Nigeria specifically, but yeah, they got a black dude playing him. Sanji is French, or is he Italian? I can't remember. They have a guy from the UK playing him. So they're getting the continents sort of correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then this kind of got me thinking about like, there's been, and we brought up Ghost in the Shell. I was thinking of Battle Angel Alita as well, of like, and like they're anime, but I guess like Western animation as well, of live action adaptations of animation. And I was talking to Rebecca about this, and we were like, what's a good example of a successful one? And the only one I could really kind of think off the top of my head is the casting in the Scooby-Doo movies from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
With Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. and the rest. I thought they were really, really good as the...
I feel like they're accepted now way more as like a camp classic, but at the time they didn't get a lot of love. At least like what I remember from the time is people were pretty derisive about it.
Yeah. I think those films endured in a kind of interesting way, because like you still hear people bring them up now.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think to me it was adults who grew up watching Scooby-Doo in the 60s and 70s. They saw that live action cast. I didn't like that it was just the contemporary actors of the 2000s. Mm-hmm. But us growing up and reflecting on it 20 years later, we're like...
Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Like they're good films, and they're a time capsule, and yeah, they've survived.
Yeah.
But I think for every good example, there's like 10 bad.
I know people like those Rurouni Kenshin adaptations.
I've heard they're good as well. Yeah. I do like the live action JoJo as well. That Takeshi Miike film is very special. Before
Disney just did not try, or at least they were their live action became kind of a response to criticisms of the animation. The Cinderella one is actually pretty decent.
I've heard that, yeah.
I like that one the most. It kind of gave a lot more dimension to, Prince Philip? Is it Philip is his name? I don't know. The prince in that. It gave him a lot more dimension and there was a lot of humor to it that was surprisingly good. After seeing that, I was very hopeful for the rest of them and then they were just all terrible. But that one was pretty good.
That live action Lion King was just brown sludge.
The photorealistic one with and it's got a good voice cast, but it's got nothing. It's
got a good voice cast. I think the cast, I think everyone gave shitty performances.
How do you give a good performance as just like a literal lion that cannot emote?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Niamh.
Yes.
What's up?
Oh, do you know what time it is? Wait, that's not how we do it. Do you know what talk it is? It's Wrestle Talk! Me, Niamh, and Niamh alone watched AEW's... Shit, I've already forgotten the name. Something to do with gears. Gear it up.
Gear Forth.
Gear Forth.
John, don't help her. She watched this of her own accord, self-motivated completely.
Pay-per-view. It's like AEW's third one? Fourth one? Who knows? But it's one you pay for, and it had all the best matches.
All the big ones.
All the big ones you were hoping for, except for women who were banned. Mm-hmm. That wasn't true. There was one match.
Oh boy.
Over to John.
So, a set of circumstances fell in place, which meant that me and Niamh, and Niamh's partner, and our friend Rebecca, Bryan's partner, watched Full Gear, AEW Full Gear, in a house in, where were we, Yorkshire?
Leeds. No, wait.
Yeah, Leeds.
Harrington.
But technically Leeds.
No, it wasn't Harrington. Harrogate,
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. And
you were in an Airbnb.
I just want to say, I was very conscious of not forcing them all to watch wrestling. I just wanted to watch one match with Niamh. But as the things turned out, we just watched all 4 hours of AEW Full Gear.
On a Saturday night with a flight early in the morning.
Sunday night.
Mm-hmm. With a flight early Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
That's so bold.
Well, the flight wasn't that early, was it? Oh no, we were kind of
early. Yeah,
it
was pretty early.
Yeah.
It was like 8.
Yeah. That's so early.
We were up at 6.
Oh my god, that's dream time. You have to have your eyes closed and thinking about nice things.
John had prepped me for AEW, and the match I was going to watch with him was Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page. And John had filled me in on all the background details, and I was totally ready, and I was full cowboy shit. But because we ended up watching 4 hours of this, there was other matches that I even got into more.
Yeah, that was really surprising. The match you seemed the most into was Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk.
Yes.
And I think that's really interesting, because I said to you, that would probably be one of the matches on the card I would not show people who are new to wrestling, but you liked it the best, and it is also the match I like the best, and also the match that I haven't been able to stop thinking about, because I rewatched it, and I think that's such a fucking good match.
From what you told me going in, John was very helpful to have there for a pay-per-view, because he could give me all the emotional backstory to every single match, and that was great knowing going into it. So everything you told me about these two guys was displayed fully in the ring in that moment. I didn't have to be okay, which is the guy who did this? It was it was very clear who was the very self-controlled, disciplined, hard-working one, and who was the guy who was maybe a little out of shape and who was fucking pissed as hell because he felt he was being disrespected by someone who's a bit of a swat. Mm-hmm. And there was that if it sounds like it, I was totally into Eddie Kingston. I totally was rooting for him. He was just giving
Eddie
it so much emotion.
Might be my favorite wrestler right now. I fucking love that guy, and everything he does is great.
I just love some of the moments in it where you could see just real anger. CM Punk was bleeding, and he just takes the blood off CM Punk's face and just wipes it on his own face while screaming. It's just there was real this dude is really pissed, and not even just angry pissed, but hurt pissed.
Yeah, and the fact that because like that shit was real. Like I told you about like how they actually had real life beef like way back when, and it just felt like all that shit like came to the surface that match. And like you're totally right, where like this wasn't a like I'm going to kick your ass pissed. This was a totally like you have hurt me deeply pissed. And it was, oh god, it was just great to watch.
Because you had another fight where it's just like 4 high like tier wrestlers. This is the one with the little goblin in it, and felt like
she's referring to Pac, who I refer to as my wrestle goblin.
And that felt like scary anger violence, where like the other one between Eddie Kingston and CM Punk felt like hurt violence kind of thing. And it was kind of cool to have those 2 different vibes. There were so many different vibes. Like it was a weirdly good cross section of here's a bunch of different kind of wrestling matches. Like the opening match was MJF versus Darby Allen, and that was like a textbook perfect. Let's put an underdog heel against a jerk, or an underdog face against a jerk heel match, and it was really interesting because it was your girlfriend Rebecca who was really into that match. Yeah. I really liked that as well, and we were rooting for 2 different people. I liked MJF. I thought he was like...
So, this is something I learned about you. She likes bullies.
Oh, yeah.
I just like when they're really big and really mean. Well, I also liked the very good and very decent... What was his name? Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy.
Yeah, no. It's funny because, like... because
Jungle Boy.
Jungle Boy.
I think we saw Jungle Boy, and you were like... Jungle Boy, and you're like, John, that's shit. That's a stupid gimmick. And I didn't say anything because I'm like, I'm just gonna give him 5 minutes, and in 5 minutes, Niamh was like, yeah, Jungle Boy.
He moves like a Jungle Boy, Bryan. He really lives up to the name. It was amazing.
Brilliant.
And his best friend's a giant dinosaur man who just would throw people, and their other best friend is just a man.
Just Christian.
Yeah, just Christian.
I told you the story about Christian and Vince McMahon, didn't I? Yeah.
It was like it was very good. As a person coming in and knowing nothing about AEW, I think there was a very good spread of different events. I love the guy Miro. Is that his name?
Oh, Miro's the best.
I just liked him because he was fucking huge.
He is fucking huge, but he's also very charismatic. Like he is able to deliver a promo.
I just loved watching him.
And he really loves his hot wife, and he talks about her all the time.
Fair enough.
Good man.
He says, I serve them in very different ways, my God and my wife. And he means the sexy way.
The only thing I was a little disappointed with was there was only 1 women's match in the middle, and it really felt like well, here's the match you can go pee during.
So back in the old days, they did used to call women's matches the pee break matches, but back then they literally were, because it was a bunch of untrained glamour models pantomiming a wrestling match.
This felt like this in the spirit of it because it was just totally in the middle of it, and the crowd seemed less into it and stuff, which was a bit disappointing because from watching it, like, I was super into Tai Conte, and I know she's like not the kind of main event person in that match.
See, I think with Tai Conte, like, because I'm like less hot on Tai Conte than you are, but I also know in 2 years Tai Conte is going to be the final evolution of what she is now.
Which is pretty cool. Like, I feel like there's a lot of growth there.
Totally. And like, I'm really excited to see it.
It was 3 people who do not watch wrestling who were pretty clued into her, who were just like, she is fun to watch. And that was really fun. There was like a lot of different performers that I enjoyed watching, which kind of made the last match a little flat in comparison.
You were right on the money, I feel like, when you said it. And like, I feel like we're probably in the minority here because I know a lot of people really like this match, but I kind of feel like a lot of people loved Hangman's 2-year arc.
Yes.
More so than this match. And this is a kind of problem I do have with Kenny's matches sometimes as well. Sometimes when Kenny plays the heel, I feel like the story just disappears from the match because he's nearly like, I'm just going to be a good heel, you know? And this match was all about Hangman and not about Kenny at all. And to me, there was more drama they could have mined from the fact that they were a tag team because like, and they were so close, because I didn't get that sense at all from that match. I just got the feeling that like Kenny's the bad guy heel, Hangman's the hero, Hangman overcomes. And like, it was a decent match. Like, I would not say it was a bad match at all.
Those are like really they were really talented. It was really fun and engaging to watch. It was just like, you had told me all about this guy's journey and stuff, but like, it felt less evident watching it. Their hatred or upset with each other didn't come true.
No, especially after that CM Punk and Eddie Kingston match,
that felt raw, where this felt like this is two very, very high level performer with another guy.
It was interesting watching you kind of go like, oh my god, Kenny Omega.
I got Kenny because I like to make fun of John and his Kenny obsession by pretending I don't really know who he is. After watching Kenny,
Kenny was great.
Yeah, after watching him move and even just the little flicks and flourishes he'll give to an arm move, he's very theatrical. He's very fun to watch.
Do you know the crazy thing? That was Kenny coming off a dozen different injuries. He's out AEW right now because he's just going away to recover from injuries. That was him super fucked up.
Wow.
I would say the experience of watching an entire wrestling pay-per-view with 3 of my friends who knew nothing about wrestling was it was great, but it was so interesting. Just seeing what got a reaction out of you guys. That Luchasaurus Young Bucks match went down so well.
It was great.
Yeah, and it was a good memory. I had a great time. Bryan Danielson, who beat Miro.
Mm-hmm.
He came out on Dynamite during Hangman Adam Page's celebration and immediately turned heel. And oh my god, he's such a fucking good heel, because he comes out and he's just oh yeah, nice celebration. When I won the title at WrestleMania, I wrestled the very next night. I didn't celebrate, and just the crowd was like boo, and it was fucking brilliant. It was so good. I thought it was a great pay-per-view, all in all. I was a bit underwhelmed by the Hangman Omega match, but just because I feel like Hangman has improved a lot. I think he's still improving, and I think Kenny has better in him, and I just wanted more storytelling from that match. Match of the night, and maybe my match of the year, was Punk and Kingston. That match is hypnotic and real and fucking just violent in a way that I just found so enthralling. But the whole pay-per-view was great, and AEW is just absolutely killing it. And it's amazing, as much as the match, I was a bit disappointed by it, it was amazing watching Hangman Page, this dude who entered AEW 2 years ago as little more than enhancement talents. It was incredible to watch him come full circle and fulfill his arc, and he's gotten his character down so much. He's gotten so good at so many things, and it was awesome to see that long-term payoff. And meanwhile, on WWE Raw, the main storyline is that Vince McMahon has lost his golden egg.
Oh no.
Who would take the egg though?
It was the wrestler who takes selfies a lot. He was just trying to take a selfie with the egg.
It'd be better if they hatched a smaller wrestler from it.
Well, now, Niamh, there was one point in on the same night that The Undertaker premiered, WWE had been playing a different kind of long-term story where they brought a giant egg out onto Monday Night Raw and waited 12 weeks for it to hatch. And then when it hatched, out came the Gobbledygooker, who was meant to be the WWE mascot and was a man dressed as a giant turkey, and the crowd booed so loudly. And I heard a story once where Vince McMahon was watching the reaction to the Gobbledygooker backstage, and he was like, ha ha ha, they hate it!
He doesn't mind what reaction it gets, as long as it gets noise. It all sounds the same to him.
All sounds the same to him.
Oh.
There, that's...
CM Punk is back. He was in the egg.
Oh my god. Wrestling's great again. I'm happy, and I can't believe Niamh hosted a Wrestle Talk.
It was
only
terrible.
Took me 6 years.
Yeah, maybe we'll do another one.
Do you want to watch the next AEW pay-per-view in 4 months?
Yeah, sure.
We can get super high.
Can I bring my hat?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you've got hats. You got cowboy hats.
That was
Yeah.
the other thing. Yeah.
John graciously gifted me my very first cowboy hat to watch Hangman Adam Page versus Kenny Omega.
It was good. Niamh lost her fucking mind when I brought the hat out. I've never seen you react like that to anything.
I have never seen you happier watching that match. You were like a small puppy.
Okay, so how bad did the couch take it under John?
Oh, I did not go over there.
I'd say there was a lot of grindage.
Oh, it ain't recovering. We're going to get a bad user review on that Airbnb.
Couch got fucked.
Strategy talk.
We are 1 hour into this podcast.
That's a fast first hour. Seriously?
And now it's time to talk about the video games.
Now it's time to talk about the video games. Niamh, I am so curious to hear about Dungeon Encounters.
That's the one I have played the least.
It's got a really, really cool like thumbnail art of like the gang, and they're all like divided. There's like 6 of them, and one was like a Totoro.
What? That is not the thumbnail art I got. The artwork I have is just like mazes layered on top of each other, and they kind of look like
between the two
crosswords.
of you, that's probably every art asset in the game.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yes. I've played a very little of Dungeon Encounters. I mostly put it on here just to say that I have got it. I have downloaded it. I've played the first 2 hours of it, and I am interested in playing more. But this really feels like a Square Enix, like kind of like maybe internal experiment that they were like, maybe we should also get paid for this.
You know,
Square like money.
I have also downloaded it, and I think the battle system seems super cool. I like a lot of what's mechanically going on. Oh fuck, that aesthetic is bare, like the barest aesthetic I have ever seen in a video game.
Yeah.
Like in the last 30 years.
Because I'm looking at the 2D art and it looks nice, but then
That's everything. Like
Yeah.
you're looking at everything.
But yeah, I'm looking at the other thing, and it's a texture with a grid on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like, you know, the battle animations is that portrait art moving back for a second and then moving forward for a second.
Yep. And even that artwork that you see there, Bryan, of the characters, that's really nice, but the little portraits in-game are like cropped to a little window around their face, so you don't even get that full kind of body artwork.
Yeah.
You just get the little snippet of their face kind of thing.
What's the fucking point?
The point that it is pure combat, and it is pure JRPG turn-based combat. And it has a few interesting different tricks, the dungeon part of it kind of being the main one. So kind of with debuffs, it's weird. Okay, every dungeon's floor is kind of laid out like a crossword grid. So it's just like boxes going like vertically, then horizontally, and on different points within this crossword there is a 1 square that has like a 0-1 or a 0-5 or a 0-6, and when you land in those, sometimes you get a random battle encounter, or other times you find a healing spring or a save sphere. So if you want to save, you have to get to the specific tile that you need to save on. If you want to heal someone from petrification, you have to get to a specific tile to heal them on it. If you want to like do battles specifically, you have to get to a tile. If you want to go upstairs to the next floor or downstairs to the next floor of the dungeon, it is a lot of movement that you can speed up, but because it's like across like a grid, the faster movement means you don't take those turns well, so it kind of just slows you down anyway, because you have to try and get around those curves. I'm interested to level up my characters and push forward with it to see how that combat works, because I'm too early to know how deep it goes, but it seems like it's going to go deep.
I've heard about this game, I think if you're going to get out what you put in, I'm just having trouble because aesthetics in games are so important to me, and like not graphical fidelity. I really could give 2 fucks about graphical fidelity, but like I like it when, you know, a game tells its a story through its visuals, and visuals affect so much, from like, you know, the emotions of characters to like how good something feels, you know, like if you perform an action in a game and it feels good, that is just as much to do with the animation as it does do the actual, like, you know, timing and subtlety of the programming. And I'm having a tough time moving past that, but I want to, because I think there is probably something cool here.
Yeah, I feel like this is more closer to Sudoku or like maths. Like the fun of it is purely the combat.
Yeah.
Like that is all that is there for you. Some of the character portraits are nice, and you will have a favorite unit, and if they like get petrified or die or whatever, that will suck for you. You know?
Yeah, and like the character portraits are nice, and even like mechanically so far, it's interesting because everything has like a core health pool, but then they also have a physical health bar and a magic health bar, and you have to get through those two or one of those two health bars to get to their actual health. And it's like, oh, that's kind of interesting because you can't just one-shot anything.
Yeah.
Like,
break those shields down.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I like stuff like that. And like the fact that they're willing to, the fact that that's a core mechanic for every enemy makes me feel like, oh, they're going to take some mechanical swings with this game. And that's exciting.
Yeah, so haven't got too far with it, but I am excited to explore that combat in a way because I just like turn-based stuff, and there's been a lot of turn-based combat this year that hasn't really hit it. Maybe Bravely Default 2, there was a lot of boss fights I did enjoy in that, but it's like poor Bravely. I love it a lot, but also it is not perfect by any means.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it is really like falling down in the story department. Not in the sense that I dislike it, but are the characters. It's kind of just like, it feels like 4 adults on a road trip who are very like agreeable to things. Like when anything happens, there isn't a big, like, and I kind of like this as an adult. Like they'll be like, let's look at it from this perspective, but also this perspective. They still shouldn't have acted that way. And it just feels like 4 people having a very to the point conversation about a lot of things.
Okay.
And it's just like, okay, let us move on and do another boss fight somewhere else. So the story isn't very involved, but it's enough to kind of justify why you're there. So then it's kind of a lot of the time just like combat with it. And it's kind of, I wish it found a better balance between those things. But yeah, I don't know. It's turn-based stuff as a fan. It's in a weird place. I feel like if this is Square, like this with Voice and Voice of Cards, if this is them kind of experimenting with smaller games, turn-based games, I'm happy with that. I like, it kind of reminds me of the PSP era where you got a lot of turn-based, sprite-based kind of games. And I'm kind of happy that they are experimenting because I presume maybe other stuff will grow from these concepts, you know?
Sure.
Like maybe if they introduce the dungeon encounters combat to a more fleshed out game in the future, that could be cool, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, but yeah, I don't know. Square's weird.
Yeah, like I'd like to play more Dungeons Encounters, and I'm gonna give it another shot. But it's tricky as well because like to me, 2 of the big games that are currently like gaps for like Game of the Year for me are Tales of Arise and Shin Megami Tensei 5, and it's really hard for me to justify spending time with Dungeons Encounters from what I've seen in that game compared to those games.
I know, I've the same, like, I think I've time for one more game, and I'm kind of doing a toss-up between Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater, and Shin Megami Tensei 5 as well. Because, like, I like combat, and if it is just a lot of combat, then...
It sounds like that's a big part of Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, and it would be my first one, so
it's like,
I don't know.
It's like Persona, except
It's
worse.
Better.
Wow, people are mad about that game.
Why?
Oh, there's a whole thing where Shin Megami Tensei fans don't like it when you compare it to Persona, and I get it because I think they're going for different things.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Persona
like,
is the derivative of Shin Megami Tensei.
yeah, and it's like, you know, Persona has its goals. Shin Megami Tensei has like. I think they're just really sick of people being like, why aren't there social links in Shin Megami Tensei? But it's like, whoa, that's not what those games were ever about.
No, they've never been life sims.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you have those 3 games, Tales of Arise, Fatal Frame, and Shin Megami Tensei, all of them are long. One of them is a port. I don't know if any one of them is like a contender for the game of the year.
And like it's Maiden of the Blackwater, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
the Wii U game.
I am interested in that game. Like, I think it looks interesting, but I know like even Fatal Frame fans are like, this game is repetitive, and like this game has some problems. I think there's a lot of going in and out of the same areas.
I'm pretty sure all of these 3 games could be described as repetitive in their own different way. I've like my girlfriend just finished Tales of Arise, and she found the last 15 hours of it a slog.
Right.
So I'm kind of like, there's these 3 big games. I can maybe have time for one, and I've been like, Oni, which one should I play?
Yeah, because for me, like it's a toss up between Tales of Arise and Shin Megami Tensei, and like I might just play both of them and just see what sticks. You know, let them battle for my attention. I like doing that.
Kasara is very cool in Tales of Arise.
Is she the armor girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, she fucking is.
Solar Ash is meant to come out at the start of December, and I will probably play that.
Is it? Is that this year?
What the fuck?
Apparently it's out at the beginning of December. I'll see it when I believe it.
Yeah,
That's
me too.
wild.
Me too.
Let's
Also,
see. Yeah.
Halo Infinite, the best game.
It's so good that our game of the year is already picked out.
Yep.
Oh fuck! I don't like to do one after the other, but that segue's too good. Niamh.
Yeah, go on. Keep going. Keep talking about your games, Niamh.
Okay, I will. So as a surprise for Halo, like Xbox's 20th anniversary,
As a surprise for Niamh.
On the Xbox 20th anniversary, they said, Niamh, here is Halo Infinite multiplayer.
Did Bill Gates actually come to your house?
He did, yeah.
And just tell you that.
He's like, hello, Niamh, it's me, Bill Gates.
And I was just
William
like,
Gates.
Bill, you did not have to come this way. And then I closed the door and I took Infinite because he gave it to me on a disc. Doesn't work. I had an Xbox Series S, which was awkward.
Why did he do that?
I don't know.
He can see what console
I
you
know.
have.
It was weird.
That goof.
But they announced the Halo Infinite multiplayer nearly a month before the campaign. And with Halo, I've always done the campaign first and then played the multiplayer. It's just kind of like the ritual that you used to do with first-person shooters before it just became all multiplayer
Warm
all
up
the time.
to them controls.
Yeah, you just like, you know your guns, you get into it. So it was really weird to start with the multiplayer. But once I turned it on and the Halo theme just hits, and
The
it is
gospel.
just the gospel. I was just like, what is Halo?
I do love that moment, because I remember like when I was playing through Metroid Dread, like I was actually pretty lukewarm on Dread for the first half, got into it later, but there's a point where that Metroid theme kicks in and I was like, oh!
Absolutely that feeling.
The music in Halo has always been like even like 20 years ago, the first time I saw the main menu in Halo, and I was like, wait, this is from a video game? But this sounds like mass.
Thank you, because like I said to my girlfriend, I was like, that music is good though, and she's just like, it's like the most video game noise ever.
I think it became video game noise.
This is where it came from. This is the
Yeah,
original.
this is the original video game noise. This is like so operatic. It's cool. Anyway, getting into the multiplayer, I'm kind of gravitated to 4v4 gameplay. I don't usually do the big modes, big team modes. I do them occasionally, but not all the time. So with the multiplayer, I started up going to quick play 4v4. Got my Spartan. There is slight customization stuff. You can pick a voice for them. Like there's a range of different voices, and there's about 3 body types, and you can kind of pick one to kind of, I guess, imagine what they are like under the suit. You go into quick play, and it won't let you select a mode. You just get cycled through different modes between oddball, capture the flag, Slayer, 1 point capture the flag, and just zones or whatever they're called, strongholds. Having a great time. Like it started and I was like, this is just Halo. Like this feels like Halo 3 Halo. And it kind of struck me how it looked as well. It looks kind of old. It doesn't have that kind of modern video game flair like a lot of Flume or like overly textured or overly painted. Like it looks like a very, very nice 360 game.
Does it look like a contemporary port of an older game?
Kind of, yeah. And like
Okay.
it feels completely on purpose. It looks like it is kind of aimed for Halo 3 and Halo Reach as its style guide bible. Because this is 343 and like they like Bungie did the ones before them and they did 4 and 5. Even 5 compared to this has so much more of a like new game aesthetic. Just like way more like your HUD is kind of more techy and all of that shit. And it's just like they've stripped it back and it's so more simplified. And to go from games like Outriders and like Destiny and Aliens and into Halo, it feels like taking a step back, even gameplay wise. It is supremely stripped back, but it is Halo. And the last time I really loved Halo was Halo 3 and Halo Reach. And this is it. It feels so like it's like putting on a hoodie, like an old hoodie of yours that fits perfect and it's comfortable. All those like motor skills, all those rules I've learned from Halo, they're all back in play. I don't have to learn a new game. So that was like at first exhilarating because I'm like, it's Halo, but then a little bit underwhelming because I'm like, oh man, this is like Halo 3 Halo. But then back to exhilarating again because you start to notice the differences. So they've added a sprint, and Halo has always been kind of a slower, more methodical shooter. There isn't like, it's more one-on-one. People sometimes describe it like a fighting game, because even if you're like hunting in a pack of 4, the kind of life and death is kind of decided in a one-on-one match with another player.
And would that be because, like, I don't know a whole lot about shooters, but like my impression of when I think of like Battlefield and Call of Duty kind of stuff, I think of you're dead. Like, you get seen and you're dead. And is it with Halo that, like, you just have that little bit more...
It's not even that you have more survivability. It's that, like, things are closer. It's about knowing the maps really well. So if someone's above you and you have a radar, so you can see their red dots, so you know someone's above you because they're not right next to you.
So no one's sneaking up on you.
Yeah, so someone can drop down, but if you know this map, you know, okay, this person can drop down. So maybe if I put a grenade here, because they'll drop down to try and get me and land on the grenade. So there's this kind of like, you know what everyone's loadout is, you know what is on the map. So if they like put a special weapon like a grenade launcher or a gravity hammer on the map, it announces it. So you know that one person on this map has got a fucking grenade launcher. But you also see a guy, and there's that little bit of fighting game thing where you're kind of like, can I push them? If I ran at them, would that scare them so much that they would stop shooting, you know? Because your clip, it's like you can't shoot forever, you have to reload. So you have to take your reload time into it. What happens if I didn't hit them with the first few bullets? And then I have to reload in the middle of it. They can come and just punch me and then I'm dead while I'm doing my reload animation. Or
That's
I can...
true.
So it's this kind of one-on-one dance.
I love those light speed calculations. I love
Yes.
when a game gets me to that point.
And that's kind of what Halo is, where Destiny for me was so much more about speed. Like with Destiny and the Hunter, I had a triple jump and I had like a side roll and I had an invisibility like jump or whatever. Like it was so speedy. And even with like Outriders, I was playing this class that could just teleport behind people. With Halo, you are very much like little toy soldiers running around. You can see each other clearly on the map if someone peeks out, because you're all highlighted red, with the red and blue. And it's just like, it is very much more, you have to think about what you're doing. And all of that is back in Halo Infinite.
Sounds nearly like, because the options are more limited, each one
Yes.
carries far more weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I know when someone is reloading. So I'm like, okay, I have the advantage here. But also, I might not know if they have a secret rocket launcher or a secret gravity hammer or something like that. And there's those moments where, like, if someone gets you, you're like, fuck it. Because, like, or you're like, oh, fair play, because you have that one-on-one moment with them kind of thing. And a lot of the time it's just like people punching each other.
That's the best feeling with a game, when someone beats you and you're just like, fair play.
Yeah.
Because like, you see that they understood the systems better than you do, and they made better decisions than you
Exactly. It's just like, he made that decision better than me. And like you're getting a lot of good games after matches. Like there's a bit of camaraderie. I don't usually, I could play ranked occasionally, but since Halo Infinite's just come out, I've just been playing quick play. I really like games like Oddball, where it's like you pick up a skull and it's like it's like football, where you have to protect the person who has the skull and a counter goes up for how long you hold the skull kind of thing. I really like games like that, and Capture the Flag. I know a lot of people were just kind of like, I just want a Slayer only mode and all that kind of stuff.
I love Capture. Like when I used to play Counter-Strike, I used to love Team Fortress. I used to love Capture the Flag. I
think they're really good game modes. It really like forces teamwork onto you. And like, what else? So that's cool and all. I gotta say, I was super sad after playing Halo all these years, from Halo 1 up until now. I've played every Halo. It was super sad to see the microtransaction facade on this, because this is a free-to-play multiplayer. Anyone can download it and play it. It's also like, it's on Game Pass, but it's just free-to-play generally. So it was kind of sad to see those trappings on it, like to see, oh, here is a battle pass that will run this long that you can pay for. Here's the things you can unlock in the battle pass. Here's the store. It's the battle pass it takes a long time to progress through it. So right under there on the same page is a button that says boost. You can buy an XP boost with like credits. It has all the trappings of microtransactions. And that made me sad, because it's the first time I've seen it in Halo. You know, the last Halo was Halo 5 in 2015. So this is just baked into it from the start. And it's a little bit like end of an era, but like this is how these games work now. So
That
this
sucks.
is,
Yeah.
you know, this is there. I will say from a standpoint, like what they're doing with it seems manageable. Like all the cosmetics you can unlock are so slight. Like it is an armor pad or like a tasteful shader or like a different shaped holster. It isn't anything crazy. You haven't like full neon outfits from the bat. So it kind of feels like they're building this slow in a way that the team can manage. And I appreciate if they're going to do a game that is going to be constantly updating, that they're going to be alive as a live service, and this seems to be the future of Halo. I appreciate that they seem to be taking it slow.
Yeah.
Saying that, the progression of the battle pass is very slow because XP gain is tied to challenges.
I heard that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's kind of like some challenges will be like play 4 matches, which is pretty easy challenge, or like, you know, kill 5 Spartans with your sidearm, which you get anyway, which is fine.
Yeah.
But other ones will be like kill a Spartan with the turret of this ship. And it's just like, well, that ship is only in like big game mode. I don't really play that. Big team mode. Or it'll be like do 3 rounds of capture the flag. But you can't choose the gameplay mode.
That's frustrating.
So, okay, I want to do my capture the flag challenge, but I'm only getting oddball and Slayer maps, and I've been playing for 2 hours. So,
So you're just not.
Yeah,
does
it's not
that mean
gonna
like you're not really progressing then?
yeah, you're
That's
not
really
gaining it.
frustrating.
And
Yeah.
you can't, so you can't control the pace at which you progress.
Exactly. They have said that they are going to change it where you will get some XP for playing a game. It's not a lot. Like it's still like a very big grind to get through this battle pass, but this battle pass is meant to, again, I think just play out until it might be March. Like it is a long battle pass. It's not a
sounds like a
monthly
6-month
one.
thing.
Yeah, it might be a 6-month one. And again, seems manageable in that sense, but when you kind of like, you know, there's a new Halo, you want to like play it, and these like aesthetic differences are so minor, and across like 2 different armors you have an armor core, so it isn't like Destiny was very fashion based where you could like totally dress up your character and make them look amazing. This is very like you will be playing and working for a long time to get a little cap for your visor, you know. It is small cosmetic details.
But you're just playing as a Spartan.
Yeah, you're just playing as a Spartan, and sometimes you have nicer colors. I think I'm like rank 12 in my battle pass now, so I've got like a nice mint
Nice.
skin.
Are the vehicles in it? Is there like a bowl in the middle of the map where you can go in the hog and stuff?
Yeah, they're all there. The Ghost is there, Warthog is there,
Which
everything
is your
is there.
favorite Halo vehicle, Niamh?
I love the Ghost. Like it's simple.
That's
but
not the Banshee.
no.
The Banshee's a hover bike, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can the Ghost fly?
No. It's like a speeder.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a new mode that they've done, which is Fiesta, which is because with the campaign you might play first, you would maybe like try out all the weapons in the campaign, all the Alien and Covenant weapons. But because it's just multiplayer, I get a feeling that people are kind of just sticking to their kind of standard loadout, because sometimes you're more like, I'm more confident that I will kill 3 people with my standard loadout than like get a like sniper rifle and flub it, because I haven't got practice with it, because the campaign obviously hasn't been out. But this Fiesta mode, every time you respawn with 2 different weapons.
Oh,
so
cool.
like
Yeah, that's
it's a
deadly.
real like tension, because like you don't know who has a gravity hammer, you don't know who has a rocket launcher, you don't know who has like a shotgun, you don't know who has whatever, like if they just have a little pistol. So there's a lot of fun in that mode. I'm having a great time. I'm playing so much of it. I am very hopeful for the campaign.
I noticed that your media section was very light today.
Yeah.
And then I looked down and I saw Halo multiplayer. I was like, oh, okay.
No.
She's busy.
They've introduced a sprint to Halo, which that speed is definitely needed coming from the back of this the faster games. I really like the sprint. It doesn't have like, you're not on any like stamina or anything. You can just do whatever. So that kind of gives a bit more survivability. So running away is a viable tactic kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'm super interested in what that campaign will be. It does look like an older game. That is my biggest criticism. It doesn't have the same flair. honestly, I don't know if I need it or want it. It's like it's less that I want it to be flashier and more that I am surprised that the kind of like flagship game for Xbox.
Yeah, because like
looks
you
like this.
sound happy with how
Yeah.
it looks, but it's more just like there is a newer avenue here that they did not go down, and maybe it would have been for the worse. And what you have is cool, but yeah, there's something unexplored there.
It's just like Destiny 2 is like it's such a pretty game. Like it is so gorgeous. Like I would not be screenshotting Halo Infinite multiplayer anyway. Maybe campaign, yes.
Maybe they'll have some nice skyboxes.
Yeah.
Niamh, that sounds great, and like you don't seem to be alone in your positivity towards Halo. Like I have heard, so many people being like, Halo's back, and I don't really care about Halo that much. I don't have too much of a history. I beat Halo 1 many decade ago, and I liked it. But I do feel like kind of happy for the Halo fan base, because I feel
been
like
a while.
it has been a while since there was like a resounding victory.
Yeah.
Right?
Like 2015 was Halo 5, and that was like the worst received one. I think like that was the one I did not finish that campaign, and I never got into the multiplayer. Even with 4, I got into the multiplayer of that.
Yeah, but like when that campaign drops, I will definitely boot that up, because like
Yes.
an open world Halo sounds great.
And presumably they will be adding co-op, which we will be playing with Niamh.
Cool.
And then maybe I can ease you into multiplayer.
It's good to know that that's what the next couple of weeks of my life are.
Mm-hmm.
There you go now, John.
There we go.
You made her watch wrestling. She makes you play Halo.
In fairness, I feel like 4 hours of wrestling is worth at least like a month or so of like, okay, Niamh, I'll try this.
Yep. I think so.
That's reasonable.
It's a good deal.
Brian,
Yes.
why don't you tell us about a good deal? A good deal of the Super Mario Party All-Stars winner.
I was going to say Hyrule Warriors.
That too, that's a good one too.
Okay. I thought maybe you wanted me to say something, but then it looked like you were still moving your mouth, so I was like, I'll let him make a
I'll
noise.
just let him work through this.
Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is a game I played in the latter half of 2020.
Uh-huh.
The DLC came out in 2 packs this year. The second pack just came out. I've played like 100 hours of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity.
Whoa.
Hyrule Warriors are in, like I played like 90 hours of that Switch one, and
Of the Wii U one.
we won
Yeah.
and I loved it. I thought it was great.
They're really good games.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
The Age of Calamity is super fun. I really like it because the story is cool, because it's an alternate what-if timeline where it takes place 100 years before Breath of the Wild, but characters from Breath of the Wild in 100 years in the future travel back in time and join forces. And it's just an alternate timeline, and I love time travel, and the whole gang is there, and they're all super fun to play as. The DLC so the 2 DLCs were additional characters and weapons and maps, and they were all lots and lots of fun.
Which characters were they?
They were all mostly new characters. Well, there was like Ganon was finally playable, and it was just like a big fleshed out like
Breath of the Wild Ganon?
yeah.
I can't even picture. Did he have?
Yeah,
a
did he
human
have a
form?
form?
It's like a humanoid version of him, and he's super fun to play as. You get to play as
Is this dehydrated Ganon? Or is that like a fan thing?
Dehydrated Ganons in Breath of the Wild 2, and that's just...
Oh, okay.
At the moment, that's just a fan thing, because nothing has an official name. You get to play as a battle-tested Guardian, which is just a very old Guardian covered in moss. And he's fucking huge, and it's just so fun to play.
That sounds really fun.
It's really fun to play as like an 8-legged robot that just moves around the map in a very different way, but it's a Musou game playing as like something that shouldn't belong in a Musou game.
How does the Switch handle it?
Shit.
Okay, because
this was
Yeah.
the thing that did put me off it.
Oh, shit
Like
itself.
I was just like, I
heard it was rough before, but like an 8-legged.
See, for me, I really like, I actually kind of enjoy when Musou games shit the bed.
Sure.
And the frame rate goes... No, for me...
Niamh, could you do your frame?
Oh, that was, I think I trusted a fart there.
What? Oh.
I'm fine with frame rates shitting itself if if the game doesn't crash.
Okay.
I actually find it to be like
Kind
a
of fun.
very fun feature in which like you're doing this rad shit and there's way too much going on screen that the game literally cannot process it, and so it's just like chugging.
I think bugs without the game crashing is sometimes fun. You just want
I
that.
love it.
That's why I had to play Cyberpunk.
I love going out of bounds as long as the game doesn't trap me in some weird soft lock.
Oh, this the fucking best out of bounds I've ever had is still Deadly Premonition when I was skateboarding across the sea in a lightning storm.
That stuff was fun. One of my fondest moments of playing the PlayStation 2 was Gungrave, the video game, and just going out in bounds and just exploring that whole backwards world. It was very good.
I love it when you hear about, oh, if you go out of bounds in this game, there's this weird city they never used.
That stuff is fun. You can do a little bit of that in Red Dead Online.
Nice.
But with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, like this uses, it's a weird mixture of like a Muso engine because it's the W Force engine, which is what they use for all the Muso games. But all the assets are 1-to-1 exact with Breath of the Wild, so nothing looks like an adaptation. It does look like an alternate continuation of the main series, and I really like the cutscenes, and I do like the cast of characters in Breath of the Wild. They don't really get explored that much in Breath of the Wild, but in this they do. So it's cool to see like these really interesting characters fully fleshed out.
That's cool.
But yeah, somehow I played 100 hours of this game because it's extremely addictive.
Hey, they just go down easy.
And it's got like resource management, but it's got the right amount of resource management where you're like, if I play a few more of these like mid-bosses, then I could grind out enough of this material that I can make this and like, I'll never get into Monster Hunter, but like, I know what they are.
No,
and
you're into Monster Hunter.
I am.
That's it.
Yeah. This is why I don't play actual Monster Hunter, because I don't want to do that.
My affection for Monster Hunter has just been on a very, very gradual rise for the last 5 years, to the point that I think I love Monster Hunter.
It makes you feel good.
It just makes me feel good.
Releases the good dopamine.
They released a new Monster Hunter game, and I'm like, they simplified it, and they've lost some charm from the old Monster Hunter, and that tells me that I'm a real Monster Hunter fan now.
Is that Rise?
Rise is cool, but there's a punishment and a gruelingness to world that is not there anymore.
Not good enough. Video games need to do better.
They need to do better. Bryan, that sounds great. You know, kind of one thing I sort of feel like with Musos, and one of the reasons I think they are popular, I feel like there's this sort of invisible value a game can have, and I don't know how to put it, but like when you put on a Muso, you know the exact experience you're going to get. You're going to go out into a big field and you're going to hit Y and 20 little men are going to fly across the screen, and that is going to happen 100% of the time you play a Muso. But say like when I played Judgment, I'm never really sure what's going to happen when I play Judgment, because maybe I'll watch a bunch of cutscenes, maybe I'll go on a side story, maybe I'll fight a bunch of people, maybe I'll race my drone, do a bunch. And like, I love that about Judgment, but then sometimes I go to play Judgment and I'm like, what if it's not the right kind of session for me right now? But with Musos, I don't know that it's a better genre for like, I'm always going to have that. Because even in something like fighting games, I might put on like Street Fighter, play some multiplayer matches, and I might just get my head kicked in for 5 straight matches and barely play at all, or barely feel like I'm playing. And I think that's interesting. I think that's why like Hades and Binding of Isaac are so consumable. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's a known quantity.
A known quantity.
You kind of know what you're getting for that like hour that you might have to game.
Exactly. And sometimes I think when time's tight, you just want to know that like you're going to get that.
Has there been a Muso that has really like just kind of penetrated the wider sphere of gamers, like that a lot of people tried out?
They've done loads of like licensed stuff. Like I know the One Piece ones do well.
I can think of Musos that like strike outside Muso fandoms because like it's such an adaptable genre.
Yeah.
But like if you're asking for like
I know Persona 5 Strikers do well, but like to me that's not a Muso game. It uses the Muso engine, but like it's still like this weird like
seems like
semi-turn-based real-time strategy.
I don't think there's a breakout Muso.
I think the one that I remember them trying to, like, just that was kind of pushed a bit more by games media as a thing that people should pay attention to was the one on was it Xbox 360? And it was 99 Nights, because they were really trying to sell, like, you can have so many enemies on screen.
That was early generation.
Yeah.
Like, this is the
like,
new
this is
shit.
demo Muso kind of thing. And I remember that kind of being the biggest one.
I didn't even know that was a Muso.
Yeah. I played it. It's very good. I really enjoyed it.
Is there any video game franchise you'd love to have a Muso spin-off? I'd love a Resident Evil one.
Oh, yes.
I think that would be so funny.
Yes, that would be great.
Because you've got the light enemies, which are obviously the zombies. But when you've got the mid to heavies, you've got a huge back catalogue.
So are you like swinging a big haymaker as Chris and sending 10 zombies?
Hell yeah, that would be great.
But then like a tyrant comes out and you have to like wear him down, and then you do a super and he takes out a gun or something. But like for the most part, it is just melee with a knife.
Niamh, could Chris kill a tyrant with his fists?
I want to say yes. Like, I believe he could. I don't know if he believes he could. I don't know if he'd try it, but I think if he was pushed to, he could.
Beat the shit out of that boulder.
Yeah, but see, I think the only reason he beat the shit out of that boulder is because he was in a volcano and he had no other option.
He had to do it.
Okay.
I've played that boss fight so many times.
Yeah.
Like, I think I sit through that like 3 times a year.
That's a fun sequence of bosses.
Yeah, it's
like
pretty
I
good.
love the Jill boss fight before that.
5 has a lot of good boss fights.
Yeah. Can you guys think of another video game franchise you'd like to see as a Muso?
Do you know, I'm kind of shocked there's never been like a Dragon Ball Z one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
There's
be great.
been stuff that's close, but never
What would you use as the kind of grunt characters?
Cybermen.
Yeah.
Or Yamchas.
Just
A
loads
bunch
of
of Yamchas.
Yamchas cloned himself and we have to sort it out.
Let me think. Shenmue.
You're just fighting a bunch of like
The
delinquents.
townspeople, like free-range children.
I actually wouldn't mind just like wailing on the townspeople. They're in my fucking way anyway.
Yeah.
Just get them out.
Yeah. Niamh,
Yes.
you played Unpacking.
Yes, I played Unpacking. There was a moment where Halo Infinite multiplayer was down, like they were doing.
And Unpacking just like
Better
slipped
play a
through the
game.
crack.
And Unpacking was like a game that was like a game that I wanted to play. I was going to get it for the Switch, but I saw it was on Game Pass, so I was just like, okay, perfect. So I downloaded Unpacking and I was just going to play it for a little bit just to kind of get an idea of what it was. I ended up playing like the majority of it in one sitting. It is an isometric pixel game, and it is, like the name suggests, you unpacking boxes. So you have like an isometric room, imagine like a kitchen or a bathroom or a bedroom, and you have boxes of objects that you empty out, and you just have to find a home for every object. You start in a child's bedroom, and they're pretty young. They have a lot of soft toys, a lot of art supplies. They have an affinity for art, and then you finish that room, and the next room you move on to is a teenager's bedroom. And they've maybe kept a few of those little items from their childhood room. And then the next room that you have to outfit is your first shared accommodation with a housemate.
Oh, that's good.
And there's now a bathroom, and there's a living room as well as a bedroom kind of thing. And you basically, it is like an organization game where you have a whole pile of lovely objects. Like, this is a lot of care has been put into the prop work. You can tell what everything is despite it being very small pixel art. So she's a GameCube, those are GameCube games, that is Wind Waker, you can tell by the pixel art what everything is.
Yeah.
And her affinity for art keeps growing, so she keeps gathering more art supplies. But as you gather more stuff, you might run out of space, and you kind of have to put things in places you don't want to put them. And
So I've played a bit of this game, and that really bothers me.
oh, there's just like so many moments, because like it is telling the story of someone's life through their stuff, and I find that so interesting. Like,
Yeah, it's great.
I love putting things away. I love organizing shelves and figures, and like Bryan, you love that thing too. John, I don't know if you love it or if it's all Michelle.
Oh, it's mostly Michelle.
Yeah.
At the moment,
I'm kind of a force of chaos who works against it.
I'm going back to my family home this weekend. I already have a suitcase packed with some stuff that I'm moving down there temporarily.
Oh.
But like, it always feels like there is a space that is like a work in progress.
Yeah. And like with this, like there is objects she has carried from her childhood all the way up to adulthood, and it's like you see them kind of get fleshed out.
I played the first 2 environments, and when I took one of the teddies out of the box, I did get a kind of like, oh,
The little pig teddy.
yeah.
he starts to lose his ribbon that is originally around his neck, and he gets a little bit more banged up. There's a bit where she moves in with like a cosplayer, and they have like a cosplay dummy and all of this, and it's just like they clearly have like so much in common, but that person has clearly made space for them on their shelves for them, and I think that's really cute. The next place she moves into, she's clearly moving in with a boyfriend, and it's like a one guy room, and it's like partly his fault but also partly not his fault because there's very little space in this room, but he hasn't moved anything out of the way for her at all, so you kind of have to move some of his stuff and kind of move around his stuff to get items in. And at this point, like, she is an artist, so she is bringing like, and this is a period piece. Like, it is about a person growing up in the 90s and moving through college and like relationships within that period. So she has like a desktop computer with a big tower. She has like a lot of like a stereo system. Like, it is older stuff. And you see her modernize her consoles, and you see her modernize her like computer and stuff like that. Like she has the big CRT, and then later on in her life she has a flat monitor kind of stuff. But like when you're at the boyfriend's place, trying to find space is so frustrating. And she has this ukulele, and I was just like, fuck, where do I put this stupid ukulele? Like, and like I kept getting frustrated. And I remember when I was unpacking, because I've moved so many times in my life, I was just like, why do I own books? And like I was shouting that at the TV. It's like, why do I read? Because like books are so lovely to own, but when you have to move,
they're the worst
with
part
books,
of moving. Oh my god!
I used to work in a bookshop. They weigh so much.
Yeah,
there's just fucking
like,
stupid
you
paper
never
bricks.
pick up more than like 2 or 3 books at a time, and then we have to move an entire box.
yeah,
it sucks.
and you fill a box with books, and you're like, well, now this is not liftable, so you have to like spread them out, and like there's different objects in Unpackable that are in different boxes, and you have to move them back into different areas. But I am loving how they are managing to tell a story through environment and objects solely, and it is very interesting.
And like, not in a way that, like, my experience with the game was like, I kind of turned it on like yourself, kind of just as a curiosity, and then like I took the first couple of objects out of the box, and I was like, do I have to fucking do this? And then an hour later, I was like, in the second environment, like trying to get everything right. The storytelling in it, like, whenever I heard this game described, I was always like, oh, so you kind of piece the story together yourself. It super doesn't feel like that. I just feel like I'm being fed a narrative. Like, I don't feel like it's me inferring things. I feel like, no, this is just telling a story just through a different way, like a really cool way. Like, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I'm probably not going to play more of it because I kind of just want to watch Michelle play it, because I think that'll be really interesting.
I think she would love this game. Yeah, this is... I have recommended this game to every like person I know who likes organizing shelves. After the boyfriend place, she has to move back home, and it's in her childhood bedroom.
Shit.
So it's implied there's a breakup.
Yeah, implied there's a breakup.
It's really good at like little stuff like that.
Yeah, and then
and
the
you
next
fill in the gaps
one,
yourself. Yeah.
the next one is such a good room because it's such a it's yes. Like, I was just like, yes, this is what it's like. So after the breakup, she moves home, and then she gets her own place, and it has so much more space. So she has like a space to herself, but there's no storage because it's fucking rented accommodations. So all the furniture is old and shitty. So she has to buy those plastic storage bins to store her stuff in because she can't get like a permanent solution. And I was just like, oh my God, this is renting. Like, where you just like, I would just love to build a shelf here, but I cannot because I am not allowed. It's just like, it is that frustration of finally having space but not being able to customize it to actually hold your shit, and just having old ancient furniture in it. So I just like, I think it told like a great story through objects, and I thought it was fascinating. Whoever developed this, they have a real sense of like UI design. Everything clicks in really nicely.
I think the best thing I could say about the UI is I did not think about it.
Yes.
And it's like, this is a game where you are very subtlety trying to maneuver objects in like kind of tight spaces sometimes, and at no point did I really feel like, oh, come on, like it just, everything kind of clicked and worked.
Yeah.
Have you got to do a thing where you have to take one object out to fit in another one in behind it?
Yes.
Before you...
So many times.
Definitely.
Okay.
So many times.
That might as well be like a basic gameplay.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
you probably love this, Brian.
Yeah, I'm just making sure. It's just... A fantasy of mine is to make a shopping bag game.
Yes, I love shopping. Brian.
You got to optimize that bag.
I need to see your system. I love optimizing the bag so much. And like, yes, Yeah, like you gotta wait it out. You gotta like.
You gotta put the heavy frozen stuff at the bottom.
I get it.
I'm realizing a really severe divide between me and you two.
And like a trick sometimes is you put the milk in with the frozen stuff. They complement each other, keeps it all cold.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't put cereal in with the frozen food because it's going to make the cardboard box soggy. It'd be a foolish thing
Sometimes
to do.
I don't even pack the box because the cereal box you can carry where everything else goes into the bag.
I fuck it all in the bag because I do not want to be here. I want to get home and do the other thing.
You can't. But John, you might squish your bread.
Niamh, I must show you my special shopping bags that I bought off eBay.
Okay.
They have like
Compartments.
Compartment bottoms.
Nice.
That is pretty cool.
I do like when they have the like circular part for your like drink or whatever. So it is like if you like objects, if you like arranging shelves, if you like that you can tell a story about someone's life through what they choose to keep. Unpacking has all of that. It manages to do it in about like 3 to 4 hours maybe. I don't know really.
That's a good length.
Yeah, I played it in 2 goes and I finished it, but that is what I'm assuming the length is.
Yeah, and like I think this definitely sounds like a game to appeal to your mindset, but as someone who is not that mindset, I still really liked it. Mm-hmm. Like I still thought this was cool.
That's Unpacking.
Guys, I played Inscryption.
Oh, you did?
I did. I kind of...
You caved?
I caved.
Yeah,
this is the other RPG card game.
Yes.
So, like, I've heard a lot of people really tiptoe around, like, what Inscryption is in a way that, like, I don't... There hasn't been any, like, really mind-blowing reveal for me so far. It's weird, and it plays with the medium in some fun ways, but... If you, I think we'll put a spoiler warning here and a time code in the description if you want to find out like where to go to. But I genuinely don't think that knowing much about this game or like knowing the basic premise or anything is going to fool it or is going to like really change it. But Inscryption is cool. The main mechanic of this game is it's a card game. And the card game is really fun. It's really simple, and I like it. It's basically like, okay, you have monsters, but all the monsters, nearly every one of them you would describe as like a critter, like a woodland critter. So there's no like tigers here. There's stouts and bullfrogs and cats and, you know, like a moose would be a really like next level card. And the way it works is like you draw your cards and you always get a squirrel card, and squirrels are handy because you don't need any other cards to play them. So you play your squirrel, and squirrel are worth 1 blood, and so then you sacrifice it and you can bring out your stout.
Is this Yu-Gi-Oh?
It's magic. It's like it's every card game, right? It's that.
Okay.
You know? And the card game's really, really solid. It's really interesting, the kind of combos you can get going. Like, this card game exists to be broken. You can find some combinations in this that will just make you so fucking powerful and you will feel so smart. And then you will have missed the one spot where you left yourself open and then just be decimated and it's your fault. And so it's fun. But the broader kind of appeal of this game. Do you remember earlier when we were talking about dungeon encounters and how it does not have an aesthetic? Mm-hmm. The much cooler thing I think about Inscryption is the whole aesthetic and narrative it builds around this card game. Because the basic idea, and I really don't think I'm spoiling anything here, but the whole idea is that you are basically trapped in this crazy person's log cabin who is forcing you to play this card game. And not just a card game, but it's like a board game as well. So like, you know, he puts down the map that you have to go across. You have to move your little piece across the map. Then you get to this part and you have to battle this person. And there's like 4 bosses in the game. There's like the miner, the angler, the trapper, and the trader.
Okay.
And each time a new one, like you look up and it's this guy that has you trapped and you can never see him. He's always like cloaked in shadow and he'll just put on a new mask for that boss. So it's like being forced to play a game of Dungeons and Dragons against your will.
Okay.
And the whole thing is run based. So it's like, you know, you get to the end here and you either, you know, you get to the end and you beat him and then you go back to the start. But the real novel thing about this game is at any point you can actually get up from the board and walk around the log cabin. And there's all these weird things around the log cabin. And in that part of the game, it kind of turns into more like a room escape.
Okay.
And a lot of weird stuff happens. So like at some point, say there was like a cuckoo clock in the cabin, and I was playing the game with him, and like everything happens like, how would I put it, diegetically, as in, you know, he puts down this cloth map and you move your thing across it, you get to this part and he'll put down a little wooden table. On the little wooden table, I noticed that there was like a time like carved into it. So then I stood up, went back from the game, went over to the clock and entered the time, and that unlocked something.
Ooh.
And so it's very like that as well. And then it's like, oh, I think I can do this with this, and if I do this with this, and it's cool, and like it just comes together in a really cool way. And like what really sells it all is this is like some of the best sound design in games this year. It's like everything sounds and looks so good, and like some of the boss themes are just like when you get to like the final boss in the game, it sounds like this kind of a bunch of old men in a mine humming, and it's going like and it's like really, it's really ominous and great, and like that song's still stuck in my head. But then like weirder shit starts to happen. Like very early on, you pick up your stout, and your stout card,
it's a stoat,
sorry, your stout card starts talking to you, and then you pick up another card called the stink bug, and it starts talking to you.
Okay.
And they start talking to each other, and then they're like, oh, I hope he doesn't find the third talking card, that'd be a really bad news, you know. It's like, oh fuck, and I still haven't found it. But then like I started to notice that my like stink bug card, every new run, it was changing, and now where I am, it kind of looks like a human.
Huh.
And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And I don't know.
Because it's got a weird art style. It's like it's very flat shadows, doesn't it?
The 3D parts are the room escape parts are 3D, and the card parts are very like black charcoal on parchment.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they look like, the drawings are great. Like I love them. Like this person is not trying to draw pretty animals. These are fucked up animals, and I really like them. And you know, some of the card abilities are really weird and fun. Like one of my favorite cards, it's really simple. It's called the Black Cat, and this is basically a cat that when you summon him, you can keep sacrificing him over and over, and he won't go away. He'll go away if he's killed in battle, but you can just keep sacrificing him to bring more and more level 1 monsters. And it's like, it's shit like that that's really fun. If it's not coming across, I am really, really liking this game. This game has its claws in me in a big way. I'm like, oh, this is sumptuous. I am liking this. You know, like I have like, you know, 40 minutes free in the evening. I like debate in my head for a moment whether I'm going to try something new, and then I go play this. You
were having a steak dinner.
I am having that. You know, this game is a little bit like a steak dinner. This is a little bit like, oh, this is doing it. This is good. I think I am hitting a point now where I am able to. I've like beaten the game. I've like beaten the runs. Like I've beaten the game 4 times now. I have still not like escaped the cabin.
Okay, because I heard there's like 3 chapters to this.
Yeah, there is, and I've beaten them.
Oh, okay.
But I am still not out of the cabin, and I'm not really sure what I'm missing, because I know I'm meant to be doing something. I know at some point I got a tool, and it's like, this tool is important, and I'm on the verge of looking it up, which I'd be kind of bummed out to do because the discovery in this game is part of it. But yeah, and I'm also like, basically it's run based, but you do unlock different things as you go on, and like basically the tools I've unlocked now nearly trivialize the card game. Like you can turn that game inside out if you know what you're doing. Like I have some cards where like if I play them, it's basically that match is over. Like I just can't be beat with them. And that's fun, but it's disappointing as well, because I did love the tension of the card game, and that tension just isn't there right now. But I also have a feeling that I might be about to pull back another layer of this game, and when I do, potentially like a whole new avenue of it could open up, and I really hope I do. Like if I am at the end game, that'll be disappointing, but I don't think I am. I think there is actually more going on here, And I'm really, really enjoying this game.
I heard there's stuff at the end that makes it kind of impossible that this would go to console.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it kind of like uses your PC and the kind of stuff that you've on it.
I mean, Doki Doki Literature Club did that, and they built like a fake UI.
Okay,
So
fair
like,
enough.
they could do
yeah,
stuff
they could
like
do
that.
it.
Yeah, and I guess Undertale crashes your game at the end.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a system thing they have to figure out.
I think this game's fucking cool. I think people should definitely take a look at it. I think like it's been really cool, like in the last couple of weeks, seeing it kind of groundswell.
I'm so hoping it'll come to Switch, but I thought for ages it wouldn't because of that thing, but maybe it will. Who knows?
If they want it to come, it can come.
Bryan, will it come to Switch?
It seems like everything's coming to Switch eventually.
Did Pony Island ever come to Switch? This guy's previous game?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I would be hopeful that it would come to consoles. I think too much has gone into this game for it not to. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's class, and I'd really, really recommend people give it a look. Bryan,
Yes.
Pikmin 2.
Okay, before Pikmin 2, just my quick Mario Party Superstars update.
Sure.
I tried the online. It works incredibly well, which I'm very happy with. When you launch Mario Party Superstars, it asks you right away, are you playing alone locally? Are you playing together locally? Are you playing alone but online? Mm-hmm. And this time I did the online. I said, okay, I'm playing online. I'm gonna get someone to join my room. But the way they join the room is they join the room from the start menu. So you're navigating the entire game from the beginning as if you're physically in the room with the person you're playing with. And you just got to do the call over whatever Discord or whatever, because you don't use the Nintendo app, even though it was like, you can use the Nintendo app to chat with your friend live. And it's like, I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it works fine. The latency is perfect. They have stickers so you can add in your emotes if you want. And it has lovely 2D artwork, and it worked great.
Does it have pre-decided dialogue that you can share with people, or is there a chat or something you can type in? Can you be like...
There is... The minimal of that is just with the emotes of like, good game, or you cheated, or I'll get you next time. It's kind of like a Mario Kart 8 in the lobby room where you can go, I'm using tilt controls, which I love to say. It's not. I am. I might be using tilt controls.
You might be.
You don't know.
I have not been teabagged once in Halo Infinite.
What the fuck?
What are people doing?
I know.
It's 20 years later. I thought
and
that
I
would be...
really want to do it, but I'm not going to do it until someone does it to me.
What if
Niamh,
you're patient zero, Niamh?
And I just do it, and then like everyone will start. I'm nearly at it, but like I feel like what if I did it and someone was just like, that is so immature. But like no one has done it. Like no one, not one.
When
I have
someone
not
does
been
it,
teabagged
will you be
once.
happy?
Yes, I will be delighted.
It's so
I'd be
funny.
like, because it's like it is so like it is so Halo of that time period. It makes me want to say like ponage.
But like back then, was there online chat, or was that the only way you could like?
Yeah, people would just bounce on you all the time. You see, it does that thing when you get killed. It does the kill cam where it stays on your body for a while, so you can see if anyone does anything to your body.
Wow.
It's so funny though.
I hope that happens to me in real life. I hope I get a little kill cam.
Just as you're fading away, it's me teabagging you.
Gotta squat.
That'd be such a bummer. Michelle would be so sad, Niamh.
I know, but I'd be like, no, Michelle, I'm doing it just in case he has, like, in case we're all built in with like a celestial kill cam.
Yeah. He just needs that closure.
Oh, that'll win her over.
It's out of respect for the dead.
I don't know if you've heard of celestial kill cam, but we all got him.
Where was I? Pikmin 2.
How's Pikmin 2? You were playing Pikmin on your phone.
Yeah, I was playing Pikmin Bloom on my phone. I'm still actually playing it. I've not lost a streak in about the better part of a month. Playing it longer than
that's impressive.
Yeah, it is. I fall off mobile apps right away. I fell off the Fire Emblem Heroes one pretty quickly, and I was into that for a hot week. But we're nearly a hot month into Pikmin Bloom, and I'm having a great time.
Do you know what makes the Fire Emblem Heroes thing feel really far away, and this makes me really sad? Because we were in a restaurant playing that once, and that feels like something that just wouldn't happen now.
No, it wouldn't. I'm deep back into Pikmin again. I'm playing Pikmin.
I'm not sure you ever got super out of Pikmin, Bryan.
No, it comes in waves, but like right now. So all I could think about is those little fuckers. And like, they're so fucking, like, their AI is fucking stupid. I scream at them and sometimes I'm like, bad run, have to reset the GameCube. So I'm playing Pikmin 2 on original hardware. I'm playing it on my GameCube. I got my Wavebird, so I'm playing it wirelessly. I don't need that rumble. Fuck that shit.
So Brian, why Pikmin 2 as opposed
Yeah.
to like Pikmin 3?
That's way more accessible to you.
I played Pikmin 1 12 months ago. And you have my copy.
Oh yeah, Michelle has your copy.
She does?
That's not my business.
Not your problem.
Mm-hmm.
I played Pikmin...
I'm not a keeper, Brian.
I played Pikmin 1 about a year ago, shortly after Pikmin 3. But it's been long enough that I haven't played Pikmin 2 in about 15 years and I need to play it again.
Holding up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
This
yeah.
is the best one.
Oh yeah.
Pikmin 2, I don't know if it's the best one. I think Pikmin 3 is still my favorite.
Yeah,
Pikmin 2 is the hardest one.
really.
There's some fucked up shit.
Because I thought Pikmin 2 was like, oh, we're gonna relax on the time stuff a little bit.
Oh, it is. Yeah, but like Pikmin 2... Okay, so Pikmin 2, you play as two characters. You play as Captain Olimar from the previous game and his sidekick Louis. And you have been sent back to the planet, which is essentially Earth. Except this time you don't have a time limit because in the previous game you had 30 days to salvage all the bits of your rocket to escape from the planet. Otherwise, you die. And the bad ending of that is Captain Olimar turns into a Pikmin.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, like he's there planted in the ground with a leaf sticking out of his head. It's fucked up. But this one, that you arrive back on your planet. I think it's like Hockatate or Hoctation or something like that. And your company president is like, our company's in the red. We got to go back to Earth and grind some good stuff. Because it seems like that planet has lots of treasure that we can sell.
Wait, so is Olimar human?
No,
Is he like Mario, where like you kind of think he's human, but he's not?
he's not from planet Earth.
What's the resource from Earth that they're using?
Like bottle caps and fruit.
Because they're tiny, aren't they?
Yeah, they're tiny. They're just like an inch
It's
tall.
just it's junk.
Yeah, it's just junk, but it's really funny because like they don't know what stuff is. So like you find like a marble and it's like fortune sphere, and you're like, yeah, that is a fortune sphere.
Marbles do look great.
Yeah, or like the bottle caps are like excitement sealments,
That's brilliant. That's so good.
and like the strawberries will be called like mystery clump, or no, I think that's a raspberry.
This is probably going a bit too deep, but they have the same kind of reverence and like for like organic stuff as they do like say metals.
In Pikmin 3, it's only fruit because that's because in Pikmin 3, it's a different alien species, but they have destroyed all the resources, but their main resources is fruit juice. So they go to planet
they want
Earth.
that fructose.
Yeah, so they go to planet Earth and they just juice a bunch of fruit and they're like, this is going to make our planet survive for 1,000,000 years.
Amazing.
But Pikmin 2, it's kind of divided into two sections. So it has 4 overworld maps, and they're just basically like gardens. And one is like a sandy garden, one's like a frozen tundra garden, one's just like, you know, a summertime back garden, another one's like an autumn back garden. I guess one for each season, essentially. But within that, you have these dungeons, and the dungeons is where the game gets real fucked up. The dungeons are essentially like randomized, and Pikmin is, I guess, a light real-time strategy, but when you go into the dungeons, that's like a light dungeon crawler. And I've played a couple of dungeon crawlers, and that is not a genre of game I like. I've learned that the hard way, and I appreciate those
I think
games.
you kind of have to like suffering a bit to like dungeon crawlers.
Yeah, you do. But the way they do the dungeon crawlers in this game is that it'll be like maybe 10 floors deep max. I think maybe the deepest one is maybe 11, but you know, it's between 5 and 10 floors. And on each floor there's treasure that you have to kind of like pick up and send back to your kind of satellite hub. And then you also have to like watch out for enemies. And you go down with 100 Pikmin, or 100 max. And you can grind some Pikmin along the way, but for the most part, you have to keep your Pikmin alive. And occasionally there is a fountain which halfway through the dungeon so you can get back out of the dungeon. But really, you're playing all the way down so you can take on the boss and get like the really, really good treasure. Because usually the really, really good treasure is like, it's got monetary value, but it's also like a buff, like a permanent buff to Captain Olimar.
Oh, cool.
And so
that cycle would get me.
yeah. And so one of them was like a punch. And all of a sudden, because like the only way Captain Olimar, or the only way the captains could attack was by using Pikmin to like swarm and horde an enemy. But all of a sudden, you have a punch, so you can like put your Pikmin at bay, take down an enemy, and stun them. Then use your Pikmin on them, and that becomes a boss strategy.
That's a game changer.
Yeah, and so that becomes a boss strategy for one of the bosses. But there's one dungeon in particular I want to talk about, and it's the most... I know I said it was fucked up. This is fucked up with a PH.
Does that mean cool or worse?
Both.
Whoa.
For people who are familiar with the Water Wraith, they'll know what I'm talking about. The Water Wraith is... So it's like a fairly standard... like sandcastle-y kind of water-themed dungeon. And a lot of it looks like I guess underground plumbing is the general aesthetic. But 5 minutes into each floor, the boss of the dungeon spawns and starts chasing you.
That's fucked up.
And the boss of the dungeon are 2 solid rock cylinders with a water ghost frog controlling them.
Bryan, what am I looking at?
And he goes around and steamrolls the fuck out of the Pikmin.
Holy shit. It's very generous to call that thing a frog.
Well, like, it's a frog or like a penguin or something, but it's some sort of like...
It's like Flubber.
Yeah.
It's Flubber driving 2 rocks.
And this thing is invincible. You can't defeat this until you get to the last floor where you get... And see, the original game has 3 Pikmin. It has blue Pikmin, which are good in water... Yellow Pikmin, which are good with electricity, and red Pikmin, which are good with fire. Pikmin 2 has 2 new additions. It has purple Pikmin, who are super strong, and then it has white Pikmin that are immune to poison and can dig stuff up from the ground.
I love how creepy the white Pikmin look.
Yeah, and they have red eyes, and they're really, really small, and they function super well underground. But they're great because sometimes the treasure is hidden on a certain dungeon run, and so you need to have them on your team if you want 100% the game. And there's 201 pieces of treasure. It's fucked up. But the Water Wraith, the only way to defeat the Water Wraith is to have purple Pikmin. But to enter this dungeon, it's underwater, so you can only go there with blue Pikmin. So you need to have...
So it's impossible. What are we fucking doing here?
At the very last floor, there's a special flower, and it's a purple flower, and you can draw your blue Pikmin into it. It turns them into purple Pikmin.
Oh, I'm sorry I got annoyed there a second ago.
Unfortunately, yeah, there is a solution to
I
this
just kind of
problem.
rushed it a bit, and I just kind of get worked up sometimes with this stuff.
It's video games. And all of a sudden, you could defeat the Water Wraith. Now, this character is not even the final boss, but it's so cool when a video game has like a mini boss or a mid boss that like really kind of like stands out in the middle of the story.
So, all those times it attacks you after 5 minutes, you can't do anything because you still have blue Pikmin.
Yeah.
And so it's only in that final section when you get the purple Pikmin you can fight it.
Yeah.
That's deadly.
And so the way you have to strategize it is that you have to do a floor and you'd be like, okay, I have 5 minutes to do this floor because after 5 minutes, I'm going to have this big fucking problem. And so you really, really got to act fast. And like, it's got a weird AI where it kind of hones in on whichever captain you are like playing as. But the AI is still kind of buggy because it's the GameCube. But it's definitely a mix of luck as well. So several times I've reset my GameCube because I'm like, bad run. I gotta do that floor again.
I do think you are right though. I'm a huge fan of when games foreshadow boss fights like heavily. Like the one I always think of is that one in Link to the Past where you have you're rescuing the princess, but you rescue her right at the start of the dungeon, and she follows you around the whole dungeon. Yeah. And then you get to a room with sunlight, and the sunlight hits her, and she's actually an evil demon.
Blind the thief.
Yep. That stuff's amazing. Or you know that A Beautiful Joe level where you're fighting Hulk Davidson.
Oh, and he's shouting the entire way.
Davidson is in the house.
You're like going up each floor and he gets louder and louder.
Yeah, and it's just
right
like,
outside his
what
door.
the fuck is that? And it's a giant crocodile in a biker costume with a horn.
He's a cool guy.
I gotta replay Beautiful Joe. When was the last time they released Beautiful Joe?
I think there was a DS game.
Fuck that! Like there's never been a re-release or anything.
I don't think so.
That's insane.
Compared to like Okami, which has been like ported to fuck.
Beautiful Joe was re-released on the PlayStation 2, but I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's fucked. Re-released Beautiful Joe. Where's that remaster? Let me play it.
Let him play it. That's all.
That's all. And that's Quicktime Events.
No, that's Strategy Talk.
That's Strategy Talk.
Well, I was moving it into the next Quicktime Events.
Coming up next, Quicktime Events. video game news from around the globe, but mainly America and Japan, usually.
Can I do a quick John roundup?
Sure.
You guys see that Dragon Ball Z Battle Royale game?
No.
Okay, so Niamh, picture the Cell Saga. Picture the beginning of the Cell Saga when Cell is walking around the city on his weird little insect legs.
Yeah.
And absorbing people through his kind of penis hose.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you say if I told you we could time travel people from the original Dragon Ball? So your Puars, your Oolongs, your young Bulmas,
Kid
Goku. What if we could time travel to that moment in the city when Cell is eating a bunch of people, and you could play as them in an asymmetric battle royale? Like, I know, dream come true.
The face I made was,
Okay, now I know that's all a tempting package by itself, but what if it also looked like fucking garbage?
oh. Well, I would only expect it to.
This looks like something that like someone signed off on 3.5 years ago when like battle royales were really popular and just forgot to cancel, and now it's coming out. And I like to think some like executive at Namco was like, oh right, that thing, because it's an interesting way to use that IP, you know?
Can you play as Cell, or do you have to play as...
I think one person plays as Cell.
Okay, so it is like Prey in that it's...
Yeah, I think maybe Battle Royale isn't the right word. More
asymmetrical.
More Dead by Daylight kind of thing. Maybe you'll get to play as Frieza and the others at some point. It's just a weird fucking game.
Is this Bandai Namco? Who's doing this?
I think this is Bandai Namco. I think they do all the Shonen Jump stuff.
Is it Bandai?
Bandai Namco.
Bandai Namco.
Bando Namco.
Bandai
I know.
Namco.
I always get it.
And then
spells.
I just also wanted to mention that a trailer dropped for a new ArcSys fighting game called Dungeon and Fighter.
I saw this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters going on in this.
Yeah, I watched... Okay, I saw two things. One, I saw an ArcSys fighting game that looks really fun. Cool. Two, I saw one character that was a lavender cowboy, and another character who was a girl who seemed to practice some form of karate and looked cool. So, 2023 Game of the Year.
There you have it.
Any objections? This is your last chance.
No, that seems right for you.
No,
Okay.
A big happy boy.
Yeah. That's all. That's my news hour.
Okay.
My news power hour.
Okay.
Let's talk about the bad news then.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the first thing in the bad news is that the GTA Definitive Editions are pretty bad.
Yeah.
What happened?
I've seen some stills and screenshot or
It is
footage.
not
It doesn't look great.
Rockstar.
It's like when they release like screenshots first, people were like, okay, they're going for a stylistic thing, because it was kind of the character models, and they were like, I guess, glamour shots. They're the ones that look decent. And it was just like, they are going for a stylistic thing. And when the games release, that stylistic thing seems to be that they used a lot of AI to upscale a lot of textures and smooth things out. So it's just like crazy broken geometry and kind of half-baked texturing.
Yeah, there's a lot of misspelled text in it.
Yeah,
It's because like the AI thought this was this, and it's like ruined some of the jokes in weird ways.
yeah, like there's like the donut and nut, like, and it's like a nut, like a how do I describe it? Like a nut in that you would put on some building thing. You know what I'm talking
Niamh's
about.
allergic to nuts, so she finds this stuff difficult to talk about.
It is a nut that you use to build shit with, like a nut you crank.
A nut and bolt.
A nut and bolt, yes. Anyway, because the AI scaling has just like smoothed shit out, it has made like that hexagonal shape that it's meant to be, just like it's round now, and
So now it looks like a washer.
yeah,
Huh.
exactly, Brian. It looks like a washer.
I know my bits.
He does know his
It
bits.
does.
But it's just like, how did Rockstar let this happen? Like, you have so much shit with like Cyberpunk and like CG Projekt Red like dropping the ball, and then you have like Rockstar.
Are there any
Doing this-
beloved AAA developers anymore who aren't Nintendo?
Even then, I wouldn't give them.
I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know.
I hear what you're saying, but like
But
when you look at like
people will fight for
Nintendo,
them, yeah.
like when you look at Nintendo's reputation compared to like any other big company,
I don't know.
Ubisoft are pretty cool.
This is just shocking because this is like 3 of the biggest like Grand Theft Auto games there is. They removed the originals from the store, so you cannot play
That's the fucked up
original
part,
ones,
yeah.
and you have these like lesser versions that are selling themselves as the definitive versions, where they are missing songs and like licensed music. Obviously, that's hard to do, but
Yeah.
like not only are they missing music, they just look rough as shit. And it's just like, how do you have such like legacy games like this, and this is the treatment you give them? It's like people would have waited for this. People would have waited for this to be good, and now you just have a shitty port instead.
Yeah. And like I think at this point we do have to accept that like a remaster of a game, like that's just making a new game now, because it fucks up way too often. Like I think you do just have to look at the resources into that and be like, this is basically like developing a new game except without pre-production. Like that's basically what this is, because we've seen it fucked up so many times. But even then, like Rockstar, like this is not what you do. Like Rockstar has issues, like don't get me wrong, but I do not expect shoddiness from Rockstar, and I'm not even someone who's like that in love with them as like a company or like a creative ethos or anything. I think Red Dead 2 is fucking incredible, but that's about it. And I was really shocked to see this.
They're really all about that polish.
Really makes me wonder if that company, like, if what's important to that company 10 years ago was important to that company now.
The fact that GTA 5 is still on everything forever.
Yeah, and
Because they know they can just do it.
Yeah, I'm probably going to play the PS5 version.
I've bought it twice. I'll probably buy it the third time. I love GTA 5. I'm awful.
That's okay, Bryan.
But I do not want to buy GTA Definitive Editions because they look awful.
I was so close to getting these, and then they were just
Same.
awful.
Yeah.
GTA 3, like, that was a fucking amazing game, and I bet it's aged like shit, and that's fine.
I really wanted to play Vice City, and I saw, like, Vice City is a beautiful looking game, and what I saw of this just looked jank.
Second news item, Xbox first party games are nearly 25% cheaper than the PS5.
I saw that. They're like around the €55 range, I guess, in our money. PS5 console exclusive games like Ratchet and Clank or whatever at launch, they're about €75.
Yeah. They are like 80. Like in Euro in Ireland you were paying $79.99 for a new PS5 game, which is not great. That is like, gaming has always been kind of a luxury hobby, and it is even more so this generation. And having stuff like Game Pass is a big kind of deal to people because of that, and Xbox doing this first party thing where their games are around the 50 to 60 mark is a big deal compared to 80. That's like you're saving €20. It was just a noticeable thing that I think a few publications picked up on, that it is a good 25% cheaper, and I think that is a good thing to be conscious of if you are a gamer on a budget, which a lot of people are.
Totally.
Yeah.
Disappointing. Ugh. That's my phone. I don't know.
Bryan's
Disappointing for
pissed,
Sony.
Niamh.
That gave me a fright.
I'm sorry. This phone's like a brick. It never breaks.
Well, that's good. I broke, but at least the phone didn't.
Yeah. Okay. That's news item number 2.
That's kind of like good news if you look at it a certain way.
Yeah. Definitely.
But really, in terms of the consumer, it's a bit anti-consumer. So I'm going to say bad news.
Bryan.
And then this
I'm gonna
is
be
just
negative.
like...
Well, let's see a twist this last story.
So last time we talked about Jen O'Neill leaving Blizzard after 3 months, and how we were kind of like, man, if you leave after 3 months, that has to be a real shit pie.
Oh.
On
all
November
stinker.
16, Wall Street Journal reported, did a big expose and reported that Activision CEO Bobby Kotick not only knew about the kind of like the culture of abuse and sexism, but also actively protected an alleged abuser, Dan Bunting from Treyarch. He also, which they have, is a voicemail of Bobby Kotick threatening to kill a female.
Do they have the recording of that?
Seemingly, yeah.
Oh.
Like that there is like a voicemail of Kotick threatening to kill a female member of staff. As far as Jen O'Neill is concerned, who we were talking about last episode, she left after 3 months because she was made co-lead with Mike Ybarra, and they're kind of like, their job was to kind of shepherd Blizzard out of this lawsuit and try and kind of, I don't know, change the culture. And she left after 3 months. The reason she left is when she was hired as co-lead with Mike Ybarra, she was not paid the same as him. And can you imagine hiring a woman as a co-lead to deal with your sexual like assault allegations and try and change the culture of your studio and not pay her the same as her male co-lead?
That is bad, and it is
comical.
It is endemic of like a lot of problems within the industry. There is some part of me that just feels like, oh, it's like a Curb Your Enthusiasm or Always Sunny thing. Like, that's
like,
the level of incompetence
it's
here.
a very dark joke.
Yeah, it's like, it is so rotten to its core, they couldn't even imagine paying her the same, and that's before she even tried to do anything.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
On the same day as that Wall Street Journal report went out, 150 of Activision Blizzard employees staged a walkout with the demand that Bobby Kotick be replaced as CEO. This is the second time the staff has walked out this year. The first time was summer of this year. Then, in response to that walkout, the board of directors released a statement backing Bobby Kotick, saying they were pretty happy with how he's been dealing with it.
It's not like he threatened to kill anyone. Like, you know.
Yeah. And that their zero tolerance policy
oh, I love this.
Does not apply to him.
I love the zero tolerance policy, and they're just like, well then, like, Bobby's gone, yeah, and they're like, well, no, not for executive.
Not for him.
No, that's
Come
different.
on, like, we gotta keep some.
Then, like the following day, I think Jim Ryan, CEO of PlayStation, sent out an email that was pretty much like they have deep concern over the actions of Activision Blizzard. Then, like literally yesterday, there was a big report about the same kind of workplace culture at Sony development studios, and that is ongoing.
When was this?
Literally yesterday.
Oh,
I think.
I was buried yesterday.
And I know Phil Spencer with Microsoft and Doug Bowser with Nintendo have both kind of been like, we do not want to work with someone who behaves this way, is more or less the gist of what they're saying, in like, you know, in the most professional way possible.
Yup.
Sort yourself out, because this is not a good relationship.
And finally, there was a worker petition to oust Kotick that reached like 1,500 signatures, and a public one that reached 13,000 signatures. And I think this is just very like, okay, so there is a lot of studios in video game development that have this issue. It is rotten to its core. And we spoke of Riot and Arcane earlier on in the episode, and they had their 2018 allegations that even affected the Dublin offices here. And it's just like, this is a real issue, and it is good that a lot of the stuff is coming to light. I hope stuff gets done about it. Like, I hope Bobby Kotick has to leave.
I feel like if anything can do it, this can do it.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched enough Jimquisitions over the years to know Bobby Kotick is like the evil CEO of a corporation, like character, but as a real person.
He's one of those people I look at and it's like, wow, you are just like the personification of corporate terrifying nihilism. You just don't believe in anything. You're just this fucking void of humanity, and awful things grow in you.
Just an awful money man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Activision Blizzard update.
Wow. Biggest shit show this year is going to be fun. Or not.
Yeah, see, the problem with the shit show is that it has to be...
it's got to be fun, and so many of them this year just aren't fun.
No, they're just genuine hardships with human beings suffering. But then there's this, like, weird like person at the top that you can like be the punching bag with.
I wish Randy Pitchford would say something dumb again.
Yeah. I just want to hear a story about him doing magic again for an actress who just has to feign interest.
That new Tiny Tina game's out soon, right?
I think so.
Well, that'll be hard.
He loves
Like,
something.
none of us will play that game, but, like, you know, Randy's gonna do some stuff.
I think, and that is all for news, unless you guys have anything else.
Oh, Kirby's been nominated for a Grammy.
Emails.
John, Kirby's been nominated for a Grammy.
How?
Okay, so a fan cover of a song from Revenge of Meta Knight. I gotta get the stat because this is fucking brilliant. So you know how the Grammys have like their main categories,
Sure.
but then when you go like down the ring to like I guess like the daytime Grammys, I don't know if there's daytime Grammys, but there's like the like smaller.
I'm gonna
tables.
take your word for it. That's kind of everything.
The
I know
mini
about
Grammys.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah,
Grammy Junior.
yeah,
Grammy
the little the more humble ones, I guess. Where is this?
Kirby's
EGOT
been
for
nominated
Kirby.
for a Grammy.
No,
Brian, you should have prepared the story in advance.
Yeah.
You wanted to bring it on here.
Mm-hmm.
Now you know what pisses me off, Brian? You're not just holding up me and Niamh's day. Everyone listening to this right now.
Only cut this all out. Thank you.
Don't leave it in. Leave it in. Let him learn.
Only cut it out.
Let him learn.
I'm going to talk to him on the side. He's going to cut it out for me.
I'm gonna talk to him on the side.
Do you want me to go while you're waiting, Brian?
No, I got it here. Okay. Meta Knight's Revenge is performed by the 8-bit big band featuring Button Masher and is a brilliant sweeping jazz arrangement of the classic Kirby melody.
And what's the category?
It is the category for Best Arrangement, Instrumental, or A Cappella.
Ooh.
And so,
That's kinda cool.
apparently a fan cover of a video game song from a video game that came out 25 years ago counts.
I think now that people know that fan covers count, that category is gonna get real weird.
I did listen to it, and it's a very good cover of a Super Nintendo song.
Cool.
Cool.
But yeah,
That is really fun.
Yeah, it just happens to be a cover of a Kirby video game song that's been nominated for a Grammy.
And I got one last thing since we were talking about adaptations earlier on. Exclusive, Amazon Studios is nearing a deal to develop a series based on the best-selling sci-fi video game franchise Mass Effect.
Brilliant.
If that isn't...
I will believe that when I see it.
Yeah,
Like, not to say
absolutely.
it's impossible, but the Metal Gear Solid movie.
Let's take
the
bets
Halo
right
TV
now.
show. The Halo TV show for Apple is going to come out Spielberg.
Did you watch
producing
that
it.
Stop Skeletons from Fighting?
FemShep or MShep, who do you think they'll do?
I think they'll do M-Shep. I think they should do Fem-Shep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have Wheel of Time out, and they're kind of like prestige.
Do they?
Yeah.
3 episodes.
Yeah, they have 3 episodes.
I haven't yet.
I watched it first. It was fine, but like,
Brian, you don't have the history.
but like the prestige actor they have for that is Rosamund Pike.
Yeah.
So they're not afraid about having like a female lead face as as the front of your IP. I'd say they could go FemShep with Mass Effect.
I think they should and they could, because I think there's like a lot of fan love for Jennifer Hale's performance, but I think given the stats about who played who the most, like male MShep was played the most by most players, but I think the most people who were fanish about it
if you
were
took those
FemShep.
stats now, I think that would play it a bit different. Like I don't think it'd be majority female, but like I think it would be more than it was.
Yeah. Well, like compared to like Star Trek Discovery and stuff like that, I think it's people are going to respond well to female sci-fi lead.
Also, one other thing, there has been a Rotten Tomatoes for the new Resident Evil movie. It is sitting at a 29% from
Hell
critics,
fucking yeah, let's do this.
Hey, it's above 25. That's
Yeah.
great.
which means we can get it to at least 88 as the audience score. We'll see. Yeah, that's news.
That's news. Emails.
Emails, electronic mails.
This is my favorite part of the show. Niamh, do you love emails?
Yeah, sure.
Brian, how much do you love emails?
I love them so much that if you were to send one to us, it's askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
That's
now,
ask-
fuck it, onto the actual emails.
Okay,
You know it.
okay.
It's askletsfightaboss@gmail.com. I'll say it one more time. I ask Let's Fight a Boss at gmail.com.
Can I go to the bathroom?
No. Yes. If you do send us an email, it will sound something like this. I picked this one because I like the subject of it. This one is from Sam. Gas station boner pills. I was like, oh wow, I'm clicking that. Those are some words. Hello again. I am back with a significantly worse question, but one that plagues my mind. Here in America, we have what I like to call gas station boner pills. I don't know what is in them. I don't know if they work. And I really don't know if people buy them. They always have some weird name like Hog Inflator 3.
Really?
Hog Inflator 300. And I'm pretty sure they will shorten your lifespan significantly if you take one. So my question is, do you have these in Ireland? Do you know anyone who's taken them?
No.
I
Okay.
don't think so.
So in Ireland, we call them petrol stations, even if they sell diesel
yeah.
Yeah. But also, Sam,
or garage.
it's not 100%, but it's 99% of the world's Viagra is made in Cork, Ireland.
What?
Really?
Brian, no way.
Pfizer has a plant in Little Island in Cork City, just outside of Cork City, on the way to Cove. And that's,
Pfizer.
Yeah, and that's where Viagra is made.
The vaccine. Oh God, I hope they never mix up those doses.
Pfizer,
We're all gonna be walking around with boners.
Pfizer made the vaccine in, I think, in Germany, or maybe I think it was Germany. But
Brian, did you pick this email purely to drop this piece of knowledge?
yes, Viagra was more or less. It became a common medicine in the 90s.
In the US, not in Ireland, though.
No.
I can imagine we're
No.
way too Catholic to talk
You
about
see, that's the-
boners or
oh,
problems with
totally,
But see,
boners.
the thing is,
Yeah.
the Celtic Tiger happened in the 90s, and that's when they opened up investment from American companies, and one of them was a pharmaceutical company called Pfizer. And one of their main plants in the whole world is in Little Island in Cork in Ireland, and that's where they make almost the entire world's quantity of Viagra.
That's so funny.
And the joke is that the town itself, Little Island, has a higher birth rate because of it, but apparently that's not true.
I doubt it.
But yeah, no, like I always remember walking around in Montreal and seeing like the strip joints and like just billboards on the side of buildings, like just everything, ads for erotic massages, and I was just like, what the fuck? This would never happen in Ireland, because like we have stuff like, I think we have strip clubs in Ireland. Yeah.
I feel like we've one in every city, maybe. I don't know.
Gentlemen's
I feel
clubs.
like
Okay,
they're like
but, like-
way more like invite only.
Yeah, these are like black buildings with tinted windows.
Yeah.
Like, no, and like it's legal, but no one wants to acknowledge that such a thing could happen in Catholic Ireland.
There are sex shops in Ireland, but it's just more like, hey, here's your bondage shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there isn't like a sex shop like row. Like there isn't like a street where you would find like a red light district. Like
With-
you
with
would
sex
have,
workers,
you would
yeah.
have like different sex shops on different like streets. Like there's one in Temple Bar. There might be one on Capel Street. Like that kind of stuff.
I would get terrified. Like, never mind.
John, it's okay.
No,
It's just a boner.
Can't hurt you.
I will.
The thing you get in petrol like stations here is like cigarette lighters, cigarettes, milk, your petrol, obviously.
Hot dogs sometimes.
Sometimes they have a coffee, and maybe hot dogs, more like croissants. I see croissants in most places.
That's true,
Like-
yeah.
like-
I guess they're all more prepackaged now.
Yeah,
because
it's
At some point,
prepackaged.
Ireland did like really embrace the croissant.
yeah. You can get
sure
them
did.
everywhere. And your milk and
Yeah.
like some sweets.
I don't know anyone who takes. Maybe I know someone who
Maybe
takes
some
boner
briquettes.
pills. I don't know. That ain't my business.
I would love to try one.
Just see what happens.
Yeah, just to be like really horny for an evening.
I have heard that though, isn't it? Don't like
Yeah,
they
they're
don't
like-
they don't just give boners. They do just make anyone horny.
yeah.
They make you potent. They're like little blue diamond shaped pills. We should all have a pop and we'll
Yeah,
just-
I'd love to get one from a petrol station in America that was called like
I'm
Boner
not-
Truster
I'm
5000.
not taking one of them with you guys.
Why?
I feel like it, like
Because
you have
like Brian,
to
if we
trust your
take it,
body.
there's like a physical like if it was to the point where like, oh yeah, I'm feeling more horny and there's no physical. I don't know if we should be talking about any of this on.
we just go on those websites we go on.
No, we have to sit with our hands on our lap in the desert.
And have a good
feeling
prayer.
horny for 8 hours. No moving, no touching, no looking.
It's true freedom when you have control over yourself.
That cactus kind of looks sexy though.
Check out that rock. Check out that valley. You know, you can, if you squint, it looks like
The curves on that valley.
the canyon. What's wrong, John?
This is it all, Bryan.
Hog inflator.
I love the word hog.
Okay, what's your name for like boner
A sex
pills?
pill?
A sex pill.
A boner pill. Big, green, and mean, but it has a little asterisk, and it's like not actually green.
Okay.
I want
And it's called Hulk.
the sausage expander, and it's got a pig, and he's
I think
like,
that's a little too much like the hog inflator.
okay,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally the same
Bryan, I
thing.
think you can do better.
Yeah.
okay, fine.
It's not the Hulk.
Okay, Big Daddy Boner.
I mean, that's simple. And can it be a daddy long
Yeah.
legs with a big boner?
Yeah, okay.
That's pretty good.
Did you see the key art for the Hilda movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know why they picked that as the silhouette, because it looks really unfortunate.
Okay, I was at the Zoolites recently, and the Zoolites is a delight. Michelle's a big fan. And we were going along, but there's this one part of it that I think is like in, I think, India, and it's meant to have these like sacks with like red spice in them. But I want you to imagine like a sack of spice, like an inflatable sack, or like they're kind of like lanterns, so they're just these like flesh-colored sacks standing vertical with like a red tip at the top. And Michelle pointed it out, and all of a sudden I was surrounded by peni.
Gets you ever? Okay, but John, what's the name of your boner pill?
Silent Thrill, and it's Pyramid Head with a big boner.
Oh, that's good. I like Silent Trill.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm shocked I came up with
Can
that.
I do fan art of that?
It just don't send it to me, but yeah.
Can I do another email?
Go for
Yeah.
it.
Just because we're
That
in a
was
giddy-
from Sam. Thank you,
That
Sam.
was from
Thank you, Sam.
Okay, the one just below it, because we're in a giddy mood, is from Zach. What kind of humor never fails to make you laugh?
Vomiting.
Oh no, you like vomiting?
Vomiting is the funniest fucking thing.
No, it's too
Okay.
gross.
Oh, it
That's
smells
gross.
so
That's
bad.
so
Okay,
gross.
Bryan, shut the fuck
I
up.
can't
You
deal with
love
that.
vomiting, you piece of shit.
Oh yeah, in movies, but like in real life, it sucks.
No. Okay, look, can I just
No.
explain it? Right? I have never been, like, I'm not a toilet humor guy at all. It bodily functions for the most part don't, like, fart, like, when someone makes, like, a fart joke or something, I just get tired because I'm like, oh, this isn't even fucking funny. But vomiting, okay, here's the thing. You can fart and you can get away with it, right? No one, from a fucking king to like some kind of empress to like a unicorn, no one can vomit and retain their dignity. No one. It's always this crushing loss of identity, and it's fucking beautiful. The funniest thing I have ever seen is I was walking behind a friend once, and we had been drinking a lot, and he was walking just a couple of feet in front of me, and you know who this was,
I
right?
do, yeah.
And next thing, he tilts his head 45 degrees and just goes, and a giant, see, Niamh laughing, a giant stream of vomit shoots out, but the dude did not break his stride for a single second, and for like 2 seconds
It was like a
just,
sneeze.
it was just this fountain of vomit emerging from him, and then it was done. He wiped his mouth and he was back to normal. He still looked like a fool. That is how much vomit just disintegrates the social layers around you. It is incredible. Also, goats screaming will fuck me up, as will animals falling over.
Are animals talking? The most I've ever seen John laugh was I showed him the clip of Big Billy.
Yeah, that'll do it.
It's just the cat that's like, I'm Big Billy.
Oh yeah, that There is a good video I saw the other day of a dog getting into a swimming pool, and he's in the shallow part, and he just fucking like Ralph's a big old chunk of puke, and they're like, "Get out of the pool," and he's like. There's a YouTube channel called Unusual Videos. They publish a new video every week. It's just like a collection of whatever happened on TikTok. But I love short form captured comedy like that, where it's just...
Is there a particular flavor of that? Like, is there one specific thing that will get you?
I think it's like, you'll get a bunch of animal videos in a row, but but then it'll be someone in a like high school bathroom and they pan the camera up to a cubicle and it'll be like Ronald McDonald on a skateboard, and whatever out of context that is just kills me.
I think you have a penchant, Brian, as well. You love kind of human disasters.
Oh yeah.
Like, with the story we always tell about, like, the guy at MagFest who was picking up cereal in bare feet. Like,
he was really good.
You love when there's, like, a narrative behind someone and you can see their whole identity there and then.
But you're seeing, like, the 2-second snippet and you can fill in the rest.
Yeah, you get a glimpse into their whole life.
Yeah, so I think one of my favorite ones of that is people have, like, drawn on their bodies with Sharpies and they're in the bathroom and one girl's washing her hands and she's going, it's not coming off, and it pans over to the other guy with Sharpie all over him and he looks so sad. And I just love that stuff. I think that's so funny.
What about you, Niamh?
I don't know. I don't think I can pinpoint it. I feel like everything and nothing makes me laugh. Like, I used to laugh a lot for years, and now everything is funny to me.
There's a specific kind of teenage boy humor that I think makes you laugh sometimes.
I do like teenage boy humor. I
think Bryan is very good at that humor.
Yes, the shock of like just a dirty joke is just like
I
cannot say
still think
that.
of how much you laughed at the word heaving bollock.
It's really funny.
Yeah, just a good world would get me, just like, you know, crippling wit, like someone just like coming out of nowhere. I always love when it just comes from nowhere, like everything is pretty like calm and then someone just says something like devastating.
Like when I was like, Niamh, I shit in the park.
Yeah.
That
did make me laugh a lot.
See?
Still, I was horrified, but it was very funny.
There is stuff like I've heard from school when I was like 14, 15 that still makes me laugh today. Remember there was one guy in class and there was like, I think the teacher went out to get something and there was like that 1 minute where like teacher wasn't there. One guy turned around to me and went, hey Bryan, do you know what they call the bit in between the ball sack and the asshole? And I went, what? And he went, the poonis. I just think that's really funny.
Sometimes like real out of character stuff can get me as well. I always remember our friend Mike, Bryan.
Yeah.
Remember, like, I think one of the first nights we were out with him in Baker's, which is the pub in Dunleary outside the college where we used to go.
The woman with the chips?
So just a waiter came over with chips and was like, did someone order chips over here? And I was like, you know, this fucking table of college, like 8 people, and none of us ordered chips. And she was like, oh, okay. And she kind of walked away. And then there was just like a kind of, you know, that moment had kind of pulled focus from the conversation. Everyone was quiet for a sec. And Mike just goes, chips! This direction? Oh, I don't think so! And yeah, that got me.
I think it was just like, people don't say that in real life. So when you hear it in real life, you're like, what the fuck? But it was funny.
It was.
I really love Saw quotes. It's
What's
that
Saw?
Twitter account that pretends to be Jigsaw from Saw.
Oh, a little puppet.
Very good.
What kind of stuff?
Let me read a tweet because everyone loves that. Okay, so you kind of soft lock the game here. I thought you'd be able to clear the leg breaker trap no problem, but I didn't really think about how the stairway trap is kind of impossible if you didn't. I really got to play test these things.
I bet there's so
What's wrong,
many.
Niamh?
I bet there's so many Saw movies where he was like, okay, I gotta fix the distance between that bit and that bit.
Did you know that the puppet in Saw isn't called Jigsaw?
What's he called?
He's like a different name. Jigsaw's the man, and the puppet is like Jigsaw's puppet. Like
Jigsaw
it's
Killer
like,
is-
like
Well, it's like Pyramid Head is actually called Red Pyramid Head. He's just called
What?
Pyramid Head. His full name is Red Pyramid Head, isn't it, John?
Billy. Billy is the fucking
Billy's the puppet.
yeah. It's the puppet, which is stupid. I thought it was Jigsaw.
I think the painting Pyramid Head appears in, it refers to him as like the Red Pyramid Head. But I also, at no point during Silent Hill 2 does James go, oh no, it's Pyramid Head! Like he does, like he's called the Red Devil as well.
Okay, I'm here on the Silent Hill wiki, which I'm sure is like Red Pyramid thing.
Yeah.
More colloquially known as Pyramid Head. What the fuck?
If you
Yeah,
saw him in the
I-
distance, what would you call him? Like
Triangle face.
yeah.
He is
Triangle
also
Man.
down here as Triangle Face, Triangle Man, White Hunter, Holy Apostle, Boogeyman, Shadowed One.
I bet Shadowed One came from like after Team Silence.
Oh yeah. No, it's gotta be like really serious.
We got time for one more?
Oh yeah. This one is from AJ. Being a little shit child.
Okay.
Hello, supreme being, Bryan. Overwhelming organism, Niamh. And the candidate, John.
Oh, I like that.
Was there a moment when you were an extra terrible child, when you had no concept of right or wrong, and you saw something so personally valuable to you that you needed it more than the air life gave you, or that gave you life? For me, it was this pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards at my local Blockbuster when I was 6 years old. This was in 2003. I grabbed a pack, told my dad I wanted it. He said no, and I proceeded to tear open several packs and run around the aisles while he and some 17-year-old mid-tier, D-tier Matthew Lillard with a shitty goatee chased me around the store. Coming to you from the taint, which is another word for penis, of America, that is Arizona.
So,
Arizona's
is
the
this
penis.
question about us lusting after something as a child, or just moments where we were just
So little
terrible?
bastard.
Yeah, I think just being a little shit child is just. I think that's an open question we can answer in whatever way we want.
Okay, I got one. When I was very young, my mum was trying to get me to drink a glass of milk, and I had this like realization that any like rules were just things. I was like 6 or 7. Were just things that she had made up, and physically I could do whatever I want, and nothing could stop me. So I picked up the glass of milk and I looked up at her, and slowly I tilted it over and let it all spill out on the floor.
Yo.
Did she smack your arse for that?
She slapped my face for that. And look, I will say, you should never hit your kids. No one should ever hit their kids. That's a fucked up thing to do. I 100% deserved it. That was the right call. Fair fucks. Cause oh my god, no one should ever hit their kids except in that one instance if it's like 1993 and you're my mother. That's it.
The age I guess the age we are now, the age I am, my parents would have had 2 kids at this point with a third on the way. And like, I can remember my parents being that age now that I am now.
Yeah, that's fucked up, isn't it?
And like, I've no interest in having kids. And to think how I would handle parenting, I don't know how my parents did it because I was a little shit. I used to fucking moan every day until about the age of 9, and I can remember my mom just being like screaming at me one time in the supermarket, shut the fuck up, I don't want to hear right now, they don't have your cereal, shut the fuck up. And I can remember like an older lady came over and I didn't understand why she wanted to like have an opinion on it, and my mom was just like, back off, he's annoying. And I was. And then she said, and then my parents both told me, like, when I was older, they were like, around the age of 10, you just stopped moaning, and we really appreciated it. We liked you then. But before that, we just didn't think much of you. So I was a little shit child.
I was a very quiet kid.
No fucking seriously?
Yeah, and then I was a bit of a demon as a teenager, but I was a very, very quiet
Okay,
kid.
because I thought I'm going to get my story in early because whatever I say is never going to compare to Niamh.
No, I got in trouble a lot and I got yelled at a lot, but I don't think for any specifically good reason. I think it was just because I was the oldest and there to yell at. But like,
yeah, it's definitely the eldest
It is
gets the
your
brunt
job.
of it, especially because your parents are like, well, here's the first go, let's fuck this one up.
my parents kept thinking I was picking up my sister and moving her around the house as a game, but like she had just figured out a weird way of crawling. So my little sister's first word was Niamh because they just kept yelling Niamh because
Jesus.
That's great.
they just thought I was moving her around. I wasn't touching her. I don't know. I can't really think of the boldest thing I've done as a child. Shitty teenager, pretty decent kid.
That's great.
Fair
I was very, very boring as a teenager, but I was an absolute problem. Like problem child.
I went through different phases as a teenager. For several years, I was very boring, but then things got a little loopy.
I would go to school, John, and instead of going to school, I would get on a bus to Dublin.
That's so,
I know,
like,
it's so bad.
but like your parents would be like,
Goodbye.
like that's electively missing.
I know, I was missing a lot of the time.
Skipping, like, the moment you
That's-
realized that you were going to not go to school, that was the best moment of the entire day. That was much better than anything else you could do that day. Because most of the time, honestly, I would go home and sing along to, like, MTV2.
good shit.
It was good shit. On the subject of kids, I didn't talk about it. I listened to Louis Theroux's new book, Through the Keyhole.
Oh, yeah.
That is a brutally honest depiction of that man, because he kind of comes across like a fucking useless husband.
Is that his newest one about him being like his autobiography, or is this a newer one again?
This is a newer one.
It's an even newer one.
Yeah.
It just came
because
out.
I kind of thought that of the other book as well. I was kind of like,
he
oh
comes
wow.
across as fucking, and he admits it. Like he admits it.
Yeah, because like he's not at home.
No, he's not at home. He also he's just a very particular man, and sounds infuriating to be with. And I say this with all love in the world for Louis Theroux. I love that guy. I really enjoyed the book. It was fantastic. I actually liked it much better than his autobiography. It felt a lot more like honest to me. His poor wife, but yeah, great book. Patreon, shout outs.
Thank you again for supporting us on Patreon.
How long have we been going, Bryan?
We've been going for nearly 3 hours.
Oh, my
No
midnight bath
way.
is ruined.
Yeah, but we gotta thank the patrons.
It's the most important thing.
They're doing what they do best.
So, okay.
Supporting us.
Listen, everybody, I'm going to level with you all. We lost a lot of patrons after my ReZero rant. And Papa and Mama and Papa need to make that money back up. So,
hurting.
To the ReZero fans, I was wrong. 10 out of 10 show. Fucking brilliant. And to everyone else, please help us heal the wound.
Get us back in the good graces of anime.
Yep.
The Discord's doing great. I'm real proud of them. They're going to give us some shout outs. I got some here to read out. The first one is, I've written my name beside it, so I will read it out. It is from OB07. Okay. And they have written Niamh, Bryan, and Rio.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. That adds up.
This next one is for you, John.
And it says... Wait, no, that's from last week. Oh, God. Everything... Is it the Periot one?
Now this is from Nameless Vulcan.
Oh, I don't think my thing's updating.
Just close and reopen. It's okay. We got time.
Will I do it? My one? This is from Maury Moore. Is that right? I'm going to say it is. Maury Moore. I need Niamh to say Fortnite and chill, and John to clarify his stance on biological warfare.
What?
You heard him.
John, can
It
you
was
clarify?
2019 when you were really into vor.
I was never into vor.
Biological warfare.
Okay, you know what? What's this person's name?
Maury Moore.
Morimer, I believe Niamh read out your Patreon question, so we're not under any obligation to answer a fucking thing. So how about that?
I think that tells you everything you need to know.
Can you ask someone to go Fortnite and chill, or is it just like you're kind of like you're asking them to play Fortnite, but the implication is the chill? Like you don't go to say someone, hey, can we do Netflix and chill? You say, do you want to come over and watch Netflix? And the implication is the chill.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, Niamh. I haven't been single in 16 years.
So if you're just like coming on to someone and you're just like, do you want to play Fortnite?
I don't come on to people. I wouldn't know how to come on to people.
Would you be more into someone who asked you to play Fortnite or Halo?
I'm a very simple man, Niamh, so I'd be like, I don't play shooters.
Fuck, that's all I have. I don't know how to flirt anymore. John, would you like to play Halo?
Hey baby, would you like to shoot one up with your old girl, Niamh?
What is happening?
Flirting.
Yeah, this is flirting.
Hey, John.
Do you want to Fortnite with me?
John, you got a smile. I like it. You have eyes. Can I look at them?
You have skin. Can I touch it?
I'm genuinely like sweating. What is...
Can we touch it?
No.
Can we see it?
No.
Can we smell it?
I got my phone's updated.
Yeah.
Can we just end this fucking nightmare of an episode? This is from Nameless Vulcan. What if I fought John in Street Fighter 5? Haha, just kidding. Unless...
You didn't... You gotta add the pauses. Do it again.
What if I fought John in Street Fighter 5? Just kidding. Unless... Is that better?
That's fantastic.
Okay.
Usernames, they're hard to pronounce, and sometimes it's just a bunch of letters and numbers. Please.
Whoa. Yeah.
And I did make sure that you got Nameless Vulcan, because he's part of the Nameless, or she's part. They're part of the Nameless. They're still going. I don't.
Oh, the Nameless are doing fantastic.
I'm not a fan of.
I don't want to get specific because I don't talk about our business with outsiders, but all I'll say, profits up.
Yeah.
Loot drop. Okay, I got one. Actually, Brian, why don't you go first?
Okay, mine is a YouTuber who's called Joe Regrets, and he is a Welsh guy who talks about weird stuff that happened on Twitter in fan communities. And this video is called The Taylor Swift Stan That Went to Prison. And I've watched this video 3 times because it's so fun.
Jesus.
It's just like it's a 10-minute video that has a lot of twists and turns, and it's just great.
Cool. You got anything?
No, I've been watching a lot of like bricktubers, like people who do Lego on YouTube and getting into the kind of like
How big are bricktubers?
So there's a few different like Lego YouTubers, and I've just been learning more and more about the kind of secondary market and buying sets that you think will appreciate to kind of fund your Lego habit. So it's really weird and interesting and fascinating. I don't know if anyone will care about me linking like a Lego review of the grand piano, because I'm thinking about buying the grand piano, but it's also extremely expensive.
How big is it?
It's super big. Like, it's pretty fucking big. Like, it'll take up like the center of this table, so I don't know where to even put it. Like, because like the thing with Lego is you also need space to keep Lego, and I just do not have space in a rented house. Anyway, I've just been watching fucking Lego weirdos for like 2 weeks straight, so I don't really have.
That sounds good to me. That's your loot drop.
Yeah.
I'll loot drop one of the nice Lego weirdos that I enjoy.
Okay, cool. I am going to loot drop the video from Food for Dogs, and it's how I got into gaming.
I love this video.
This is such a great video.
Food for Dogs is awesome.
I really like Food for Dogs. Some of the stuff, more so with her community, like weirds me out a little bit. I don't like it when people call her grandma and roleplay like stop being a fucking weirdo. That's just stupid. But anyway, Food for Dogs is like, she's a really cool lady, and like I kind of have stumbled across her videos a couple of times, and I kind of thought like the gimmick was like, oh, she's old and she's into games. That's fun. This video though, like, I really got a good sense of like who she was and her very like distinct perspectives, and I kind of fell in love with her a little bit. I was like, oh, you know, she has been through some shit and she is talking about it, and she really talks about like in this really uplifting way about how gaming really actually did help her like a tremendous amount. It gave her like incredible like value and stuff like that. And you know, a lot of the games she's talking about are games that I would not really care about, like a lot of very JRPGs.
Yeah, she's really into JRPGs.
She's such
on the Vita.
a major otaku. Like,
oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, she has figures on her desk and I'm like, is that Erza and Lucy from Fairy Tail?
Yeah, and some of it is just like, ooh, your taste level, like you are into some really anime.
She appreciates an anime titty.
She absolutely does.
She is into very niche, like small print games in the West.
There's one of my favorite parts of the video is her talking about like, this is the best Neptunia intro.
Yeah, she's played all the hyperdimension Neptunians.
But she's played so much of them that she's just like she's talking about how they've kind of like moved away from the original
She's
message.
reached real fan status. But you know, this like it's not often a YouTube video will really make me reflect on stuff. But like there was a point during this video where I was like, yeah, video games, like they do have really positive effects on like your mental health and stuff, and sometimes they can be the kind of things that just immerse you and take you away from like whatever things haunt you for that time. And I know it's kind of corny, I think I kind of forgotten that side of games, you know, and I kind of realized recently how much, you know, I have used games like that over the years, and how that doesn't need to be like a crutch or a bad thing, how that's actually like kind of an amazing thing. And yeah, I'm really super appreciative of this video for kind of bringing me that perspective. And she's just such a fucking sweet woman, and I just want nothing but the best for her.
She knows her shit so much, and she does like unboxings of special editions and Japanese special editions of certain games and stuff. This video was really like great because she came to gaming as an older person as well, and it was true console gaming, and her specific favorite was the Vita. But I sent this to my mom, and I was just like, do you ever think you'd get into gaming? And my mom was like, I'll give this a watch, but my fear is I wouldn't be able to stop. And I was just like, oh, that's a good fear to have, because that means you can. That means you know you'd love it.
I also think like there's something really incredibly hopeful about like, you know, she doesn't get specific in this video, but she went through a really severe trauma, and then like in her 60s, like she's been playing games for 6 years, and she's in what I think is like her late 60s now, but then she discovered this just complete passion, and she's so genuinely passionate about games that it's like, it's really awesome to me that she could be, you know, at that stage in life and have her world transformed by just this completely
new media.
Yeah, like that's incredible. Like, fuck, I hope that, you know, I hope I'm still discovering new things at that age. So yeah, it's good. There, we made it wholesome again after that, whatever that flirting section was.
And we're at the 3-hour mark. We fucking did it. Yeah.
We did it.
Fuck. This is going to be an explicit episode, just going to say.
As long as we don't say it one more time.